Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Houston.
Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Fox Sports Houston brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight it's game 2 of a 4-game series. The Astros meet the San Diego Padres. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies. It went 10 innings last night. San Diego found a way to win it. Now the Astros try to bounce back with this one, JD.
Just 10?
Just 10.
It felt like 15. A ball game that took about 4 hours, and unfortunately the Astros couldn't pull it out. They hit 3 home runs, did a lot of hitting, had 11 hits overall. Jordan Lyles would love that kind of run support. If he had gotten it last time out, he would have been a winner because he was really, really good, but he didn't have the run support against the Royals. Just 2 earned runs, 3 hits in 7 innings. He did not walk a man, punched out 4, really commanded that outside corner to the right-handed hitters down and away. A very positive step for Jordan Lyles. One of his best starts as a major leaguer last time out.
Coming up as he seeks a win against the Padres. Will the bats be there the way they were last night? Will everything come together? Houston native Kip Wells returns to the majors to pitch for San Diego against Houston. The first pitch is coming your way next.
Game 2 of this 4-game set. Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies are upstairs as the crowd gathers, waiting for the team to take the field. But that's probably just as well because we got some news to report. Kevin indicated, those of you watching on the pregame, that the Astros had made some moves. And yes, they did. Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies have them for you upstairs, guys.
Thank you, Greg. Jeff Luhnow, the Astros general manager, was just talking with the media a few feet away moments ago and talked about these moves. Justin Maxwell has been placed on the 15-day disabled list, and he will have arthroscopic surgery on his ankle within the next week to remove some bone chips, and expected to be out 4 to 6 weeks. Scott Moore has been called up from Oklahoma City, expected to arrive here about 7:15. He played in an afternoon game at Oklahoma City, so he's coming from there. Travis Buck has been designated for assignment, and Fernando Martinez, who was on an injury rehab assignment, has been now assigned to the AAA Oklahoma City club.
Scott Moore hitting .324 down at Oklahoma City this year with 10 home runs, 54 driven in. So he's done a nice job for them. He's a left-handed hitter, 28 years of age. He's put up very good numbers in the minor leagues throughout his career, and he's spent some big league time with the Cubs and Orioles.
As they watch from the bench, we take a look at the starting lineup for the visiting San Diego Padres. Bud Black, their skipper. It's brought to you by Hyundai. It's Will Venable leading off in right field. Cameron Maben in center field. Carlos Quentin, who had the game winner in the 10th last night, in left field. The first baseman tonight is Mark Kotsay. He's followed by catcher John Baker. Everett Cabrera, the shortstop. Alexi Amarista at second base. Logan Forsythe playing third. Chase Headley just getting a night off. And Kip Wells of Houston will be the pitcher.
Jordan Lyles has certainly pitched well enough to have won 3 or 4 of his 8 starts so far this year, but he is just 1-4 with a 5.04 ERA. Outstanding effort last time out against Kansas City, and he's allowed 6 home runs. League backs .271 against Jordan. Defensively, outfield is controlled by Martinez, Schaefer, and Bogusevic. Carlos Lee getting it done at first base. Brian Bixler made a very nice play filling in for Altuve last night. Had a good day at the plate, too. Lowry and Johnson have the left side of the infield, and Jason Castro is back behind the plate along with home plate umpire DJ Rayburn. Wolf's at first, Cousins at second, Ron Culpa at third.
Jordan Lyles is 0-1 in his career against the Padres in 1 start. He goes to work against Venable. Venable takes his first pitch, and it's ball 1 for Lyles, to a .259 hitter with 5 homers, 19 runs batted in. Venable 0 for 1 in last night's game. Third baseman Johnson in on the grass. There's a strike to even the count at 1-1. It's a 10-game road trip for the Padres. They opened that trip last night with the 10-inning win, 8-7. Each club had 11 hits and 1 error in that game. Lyles is up with that one, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count for Jordan. Coming off the 2-1 loss to Kansas City, he's lost his last 3 starts.
Left-handers have been problematic for him this year. They're hitting .323 against them. 4 of the 6 home runs he has allowed have come to left-handed hitters. Making some mistakes in the strike zone with his fastball primarily. Bud Black's got a lineup that features 4 left-handed hitters and 1 switch hitter tonight.
There are the numbers. That's up for ball 3, and it's a full count to Venable, who's walked 18 times this year. Venable has its .325 on base average. 29 years old, from Green Bay, California.
And that's Norris territory.
Yes, it is.
Son of Max Venable, former big leaguer.
Will was all Ivy League in baseball and basketball at Princeton. Grounded to first. Carlos Lee has it. That's 1 out for Lyles. Padres are dead last in runs scored in the National League, but they cranked it up last night. They broke out with 4 in the 2nd inning off Wandy Rodriguez, and then got 2 in the 8th to grab the lead, and came back with a 10th inning run to win it. They capitalized on walks in the 8th and 10th. .231 is their average. That's tied for last. They're only averaging 3.4 runs per game. Last in homers, last in slugging. Didn't look like that kind of a club last night.
The swinging Friars came out swinging last night.
204 for Cameron Maben. He looks at strike 1 with 3 homers, 22 runs batted in. Good man to keep off base because he runs well. Maben was 0 for 4 with a walk and a steal last night. No balls, 2 strikes. Weird game. The Astros walked 2 They walked Maben in the 8th inning leading off. He scored on a 2-run homer by Guzman. And with 1 out in the 10th, they walked Headley, and he scored on a double by Quentin. Both walks really biting the Astros hard last night. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Poorly timed walks.
Lyles with the curve gets a swing and a miss. And the throw from Castro takes care of out number 2.
Good sharp breaking ball there to finish off Maben. Just a real nice job of going breaking ball, then hard in to straighten him up a little bit, and then coming back with another soft breaking pitch for the swing and miss. And Maben's done a whole lot of that this year.
57 times he's whiffed. Now it's Quentin. Carlos had the game winner last night. He was 2 for 5 with an RBI. 329 is his average, including 6 homers, 14 runs batted in. Just eye-popping numbers. An OPS of better than 1,100 for Carlos Quentin. That's in the air, and on the right side of the infield, it's Bixler going out into shallow right field to make it a 1-2-3 first for Lyles. Kip Wells to the mound right after this. Starting lineup brought to you by Hyundai. It is Brian Bixler leading off again and playing second base for the injured Jose Altuve. Jed Lowry's at shortstop. Carlos Lee at first base. Brian Bogusevic in right field. Chris Johnson at third base. Jason Castro the catcher. J.D. Martinez in left. Jordan Schaefer in center. Jordan Lyles the pitcher.
Well, here comes Kip Wells, Houston native, Elkins High School here in Missouri City. He's made 212 big league starts. He's 67 and 99 with a 4.71 ERA. This year at AAA for the Padres, he was 1-4 with a 4.97. Take a look at the Padres defensively now. Quentin's in left. Maben can go get him in center. Venable, too, a very good outfielder. Almarista made a heck of a play at short last night. Cabrera, pretty good, too. So they're very good up the middle tonight. The veteran Kotze's at first. Forsythe was the second sacker last night. Bud Black kind of moving people around. Yonder Alonso, we thought maybe he'd be in there tonight at first base, but he's had some knee problems, and he's got another night off.
Brian Bixler hit a leadoff homer last night in the first inning, the first of his major league career. And that was the third leadoff homer by an Astro this year. He looks at ball one from Wells.
Welcome back, Kip Wells. First time he's been on a big league mound since 2009.
First round pick of the White Sox in '98. He was the 16th player drafted that year from Baylor. Foul ball off his foot, and Bixler has a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
In his career against the Astros, 4-9 with a 5.35. Didn't pitch last year. The year before, he was pitching independent ball for the Long Island Ducks.
Sounds like a cool drink. Lowry and Lee to follow. Popped up towards shallow right field. Amarista headed out. He is quick. Boy, is he fun to watch. One out.
We need to get he and Altuve to stand back to back.
Yeah, we need to do that. Altuve is healing up quickly from that right hamstring strain. There's a look at the travels of Kip Wells.
He's been everywhere, man.
Yep.
He's been everywhere.
And still only 35. Jed Lowry's the batter. Jed had a double and a walk last night. Wells throws the fastball at 91 and catches the corner for strike one. 266 for Jed, 13 homers. He's driven in 32.
When you saw that losing record for Kip Wells, 67 and 99, but a number of years where he played on just poor clubs that got very little run support.
True. 1-1, namely Pittsburgh.
Walks have always been a bit of an issue for him. That was always the kind of the scouting report on Kip. Real good arm, good stuff. Nice mix of pitches, but command was an issue. Too many walks, too many home runs.
2 balls and a strike. With the Pirates in 05, he went 8-18 with a 5.09 ERA. He's had some injuries along the way. Blood clot surgery on his right hand. He had a blood clot in his shoulder one other year in 06. Out into left field. Quentin takes care of out number 2 for Wells.
Oh, kind of sneaking up on that one out there in left field.
Yes, it was a stealth.
He was stalking that. A soft liner.
Didn't get going right away.
Well, he had knee surgery earlier this year.
Now Carlos Lee has had 24 career at-bats against Kip Wells with 6 hits, including a homer. 299 for Carlos, 5 homers, 29 runs batted in. All 5 of his home runs have come here at Minute Maid Park this year. All 6 of Chris Johnson's long balls have come here at Minute Maid Park.
Ooh, somebody's going to cry foul. Think there's a conspiracy afloat.
Wells has had that smooth, economical delivery down through the years. You can see that first round ability coming from the way he puts things together on the mound, JD.
Pitching age right there was a dandy. Still has enough. I mean, you think his fastball would be diminished. You know, when you just look at the profile, a guy who's been out of the league for a while, pitching an independent ball at 35 years of age, you say, well, all right, Kip's probably lost something off that heater, but just threw that one at 93 miles an hour.
Bogusevic's on deck. He came in to talk to the White Sox when they were here at the end of spring training, playing against the Astros, and he was reunited with Don Cooper, the current White Sox big league pitching coach, who was their minor league pitching coach when he was with the White Sox. And then Cooper invited him to throw a bullpen, and he was lighting it up around 92. So they signed him. And then things didn't go that well, so he was given his release and moved on to the Padres. Up and in.
Obviously, pretty neat for him that he's able to make this first big league start in a while here in his hometown.
Yeah, he's really had to battle to get back. You talked about the lack of major league time the last couple of years. Last year for him, 09, he was 2-5 with Washington and Cincinnati, pitching mostly in relief that year. 3-2, missed the target by a bunch, and that's ball 4.
The nature of baseball, you know, one man's bad fortune is another man's opportunity, and the Padres, excuse me, have a lot of injured pitchers. And they already have signed Jason Marquis. He had been released by the Twins, and Marquis pitched pretty well since putting on a Padre uniform, and now the veteran Wells gets an opportunity to restart his career.
Brian Bogusevic with 5 homers, 18 runs batted in, and a .227 batting average. Was 0 for 4 with 2 walks and a run scored last night. Brian's been the cleanup man the last 4 games now.
Meanwhile, the ultimate survivor, Jamie Moyer, has now signed a minor league contract with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Oh. It might be a fit there with all their pitching injuries. Strike to bogey. Wells is the 13th different Padre to start a game this year. And this is his 9th major league club. He's taking Anthony Bass's spot in the starting rotation. Padres also called up a pitcher, Nick Vincent, from Double-A to be in their bullpen. Tapped out to Amarista, and there's the flip to Cabrera. No runs, no hits, and a man stranded. No score after 1.
Score between the Astros and Padres as they move to the second. The Astros host the Brewers July 6th through the 8th at Minute Maid Park, and on Saturday before the 3:05 game, 10,000 fans will receive a Mike Scott Greatest Moments bobblehead courtesy of Grand Slam for Youth Baseball. The bobblehead commemorates Scott's 1986 no-hitter against the Giants to clinch the National League West Championship. To be here for that one, buy your tickets at Astros.com. Brownie, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. No score. Mike Scott, number 33. Pitched that famous game in the clincher in '86, a no-hitter.
And as an added bonus, I believe it is still scheduled. His daughter Kelsey is going to sing here that night.
Oh, good.
God bless America.
3:06 for Mark Kotsay. He leads it off. And he had a pinch hit last night in the 9th inning off Brett Myers. It's 2-0. He started at first base Sunday against Seattle and went 3 for 3 in that game and gets the call again tonight. Kotsay, 36 years old, taking that one for a strike. And it's 2-1 for Mark. From Cal State Fullerton, first round pick in '96 by Florida. This is his second stint with the Padres. Off-speed pitch comes in for a strike to Kotsay. He's worked the count to 2-2. Last night, Jesus Guzman started against the lefty Wandy Rodriguez. Jordan Lyles picked up a curveball grip from Wandy and used that in his last game.
Well, there's a good changeup there. I think that's the key for him against the lefties is going to be that changeup. He's had no problem neutralizing right-handed hitters. As we mentioned earlier, the lefties have been a little bit of an issue. But this is a good changeup here. Good hand speed, really sells it. Yeah, I asked Jordan about the curveball grip, and he kind of downplayed it. Yeah, just playing around with different grips. My hand's a lot bigger than Wandy's. But he's had a curveball conversation.
Grounder up the middle, Lowry to his left. And he gets Kotsay, who hustled but was just out by a half step for out number 1.
Yeah, that's the thing. I've had a lot of kids over the years. People or dads of kids say, "Well, how do you throw a curveball?" And they think there's like one universal grip, and there's not. There's any number of ways you can hold the ball. Some general principles. Obviously, trying to create a lot of spin. And Bert Blyleven, maybe the best curveball ever. He threw it just like a four-seam fastball. Same grip.
Interesting. Catcher John Baker's the batter.
I found that out just a couple of years ago. Could have used that 30 years ago, Bert. Thanks for the advice.
Strike to Baker. Baker was up with the Florida Marlins for 4 years in a row until this year, moving along in a trade for Wade LeBlanc. Got only 13 major league at bats last year. He had Tommy John surgery in 2010. Nick Hundley did the catching in last night's game. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hundley had 2 hits, drove in a run. He's hitting under 200. Baker began the night at 247. And they've been sharing this job. Tap foul. 1-2. And Bud Black just trying to get something going. Certainly his offense did last night with the 8 runs, but dead last right now in the league in total bases and in slugging percentage. John Baker went to the University of California. He's 31 years old now. Slaps that one off the glove of Chris Johnson and on through into left field. Sharply hit, but very playable by CJ, and he didn't come up with it.
Yeah, that's always a tough ball for a third baseman to handle. You just don't anticipate that with a left-handed hitter up there getting that ball hit in your direction with that much pace. Kind of an in-between hop to handle, but a ball that he still should have been able to make a play on. So it's an E5. Error's been an issue with Lyles on the mound this year. There's been a number of big innings against him, and it seems like there's always one big misplay behind him.
Yep. 10th error for Johnson. Now Cabrera looks at ball 1. 264 for Everth. 2 homers, 10 runs batted in. He was 1 for 3 with an RBI last night.
Yeah, a little safety squeeze push bunt that was perfectly executed. He's a switch hitter, and he's a lot better from this side of the plate than from the right-handed side.
He looks at that one for ball 2, and it's 2 balls, no strikes.
Two-seamer trying to run it back to the inside corner, and it never was able to get all the way there. Cabrera does not have a lot of power. He's hit a couple of home runs, so the situation here calls for an aggressive approach from Lyles. Good two-seamer with little movement and be willing to get a good chunk of the plate. Just keep it down.
The Astros announced the signing of second-round draft choice Nolan Fontana of the University of Florida today. Ground ball by Johnson into left field. And his first and second one out for the Padres. Cabrera hit it sharply to CJ's right for a single. Now Amarista bats.
CJ right about now is thinking, I wish I would have had a double espresso.
Yeah. Amarista at 224, the batter. Made a sparkling play, as JD mentioned, at shortstop. One of 3 different Padres to play short last night. 224 with 4 runs batted in. Very, very quick player.
CJ again tied at third base like he was with Cabrera. You have to respect Amarista's speed.
Amarista moving to his left. Popped up and threw out Jordan Schaefer in the 9th inning last night. He entered the game late, 0 for 1.
Yeah, it was amazing. Cabrera has an outstanding reputation defensively, and then Perino came in behind him and made a sparkling diving play in the outfield from his shortstop position. Then this kid made a play up the middle. My goodness.
Yeah. Hit through the right side. Baker was breaking back to second. He'll be stopped at third. Bogusevic's throw into the plate is perfect, and the bases are loaded with 1 out. Baker, of course, wouldn't have been able to score either way, but he didn't get going toward third base for a while on that clean single.
No, could not afford to get doubled off there, and the ball off the bat was on a line, so he hesitated before breaking. Bogey just providing a little confirmation that it was a wise decision down there by Hoffman, the third base coach.
Sure did. Now it's Logan Forsythe with the bases loaded. He had a night of it last night, 2 for 5 with an RBI, playing second base. Now he's moved to third to give Headley a rest. And he checks in at 304 for this game when the homer is driven in 5. Taking strike 1. Kip Wells on deck. Forsythe from Memphis, Tennessee, went to the University of Arkansas. He was a teammate of Dallas Keuchel. Last year he had 150 at bats for the Padres, hitting .213. In the air, Carlos Lee backing toward the line. Infield fly if fair, but it's a foul ball, and the runners hold on out number 2. That brings up Kip Wells.
Yeah, with the pitcher due up next, a fly ball of any depth at all, and they probably would have gambled, but obviously you're not going to go on that little pop-up. Memory serves me right, Kip Wells swings the bat pretty well, and my memory is not always spot on, but yeah, he's good. 194, that's good for a pitcher.
Your memory is excellent with those 4 homers and 17 runs batted in.
At least as it pertains to minutia. Give me something important to remember and hang with them.
Don't sweat the large stuff, JD. Stick with the minutia. Padres as a team are hitting .200 with the bases loaded. It was the Astros who had bases loaded problems last night. They left the bases loaded in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th innings. They did score a total of 3 runs in those innings, but nonetheless, they wound up with 13 left on base to the Padres 4 last night.
Things a little unsettled there between Lyles and Castro, and Jordan wanted to have a conversation with Jason, and as soon as that started to develop, Brocail came flying out of the dugout to make sure everybody was on the same page.
The most relieved guy running to the dugout, if this is a 0 in the Padres' second, will be the Astros' third baseman. And there's strike 1. Colby Lewis has been placed on the disabled list for Texas with forearm tendonitis. Rangers being hit hard with pitching injuries.
They called up their top pitching prospect, Martin Perez.
It's 1-1 to Kip Wells.
21-year-old left-hander who had been pitching down at Round Rock.
Padres sent Andy Perino down to the minors after the game last night. That's a liner out to second. Bixler plays it on a bounce on over to Lee. And now Chris Johnson gets the run in. He had a tough inning, but nonetheless, it's no runs, 2 hits, an error, 3 men left, no score.
If you'd like to email the booth, we're going to move it to Thursday this week, but here's how you do it. You go to the FoxSportsHouston.com website. If you do not see the icon that says Game Connect on the front page, then up on the left in the top part, you'll see an open star, the Astros star. Click on that. That'll get you to the Astros page, and then you will see the Fox Sports Game Connect icon. From that point, you click on the broadcast team, ask the broadcast team box, which is inside the Fox Sports Game Connect, and then send your emails to us. We'll be answering the best one. JD and Brownie will on Thursday. Again, that will be Thursday. Tomorrow, a special pregame show. Brownie, JD, and I will take the day off as Jeff Luno will visit with Kevin and Sparky out in the Crawford boxes. So that's tomorrow. Email the booth is Thursday, and you've been told how to do it. So do it. Now back to you guys.
Oh, man.
We're glad we have you to help us navigate the website.
Enforcer.
Now, Chris Johnson, 287, 6 homers, 33 runs batted in. He's been on a hitting tear lately, 6-game hitting streak for CJ. He's gone 12 for 25 during the last 6 games. 2 for 5 with an RBI last night. Taking ball 1. He's just in a very nice groove right now, hitting the ball hard to right center and right field. 429 in this homestand for Chris. 6 runs batted in his last 3 games. Wells missing there, falls behind. 2 balls, no strikes. Chris is a .341 career hitter against San Diego pitching. Last time Wells pitched against the Astros was against Roy Oswalt in 09 at Cincinnati. He got a no decision. That's in tight, and it's 3-0.
Didn't want to give in with a fastball. Tried to throw a breaking ball to the outer third and left it off the plate inside. It's, again, that's been the knock on Kip over the years. A nice assortment of pitches, but command sometimes not there. Perhaps picks a little too much, not as aggressive as maybe he should be. That's not my assessment. That's just what people have told me.
Okay. That's his second walk. And Jason Castro bats. Kip's first start against the Astros was as a member of the White Sox in 2000. First year of this ballpark. Jason Castro at 255 now with 2 homers, 16 runs batted in. Went deep last night. Just really has had some excellent at bats for weeks now. 4 for 7 in his last 2 games. 333 on this homestand. He's hitting .318 in the month of June. Castro had a double and 2 walks in addition to his game tying homer in the 8th last night off Luke Gregerson.
Yeah, if you weren't with us for the pregame, we showed some stats. We threw a graphic up there comparing the catcher's production this year versus what happened here last year, and significantly better so far in 2012. Again, below league average, but trending upward with the swings we've gotten from Castro lately. Last year the Astros catchers all year long hit just 5 home runs. We're already there this year with Castro and Snyder. You see the RBI production. 47 total last year, 33 already this year. OPS of .550, dead last in Major League Baseball, and now .687. Again, not great, but significantly better.
It's 6 straight balls for Kip Wells after the visit by Baker, and it's 2-0. Castro in the last 19 games has hit .322 with a .406 on base average and a .576 slugging percentage. He's brought his average up from .209 to .255.
He's in the hitter sweet spot right now. 2 balls, no strikes. He can look for 1 pitch.
Fouls it in. It's 2-1.
The hittable fastball was just a little bit behind it.
The Astros at home at 121 and lost 18. And we were looking at some stats today. Several of the hitters are decidedly better at home than on the road. Chris Johnson and Carlos Lee both have hit all of their home runs in this ballpark this year. And the pitching is so much better. Now it's 3-1. Last year, the Astros really didn't do much at home or on the road. They wound up 56 and 106. They were 31 and 50 at home, 25 and 56 on the road. Bouncer off Wells, and it might be runners at first and second. He flips it over toward first, and that'll be an infield hit for Castro. And it's first and second, nobody out.
I guess when you haven't been in the big leagues for a couple of years, you're willing to try anything.
Yeah.
Probably feels like he's playing with house money, being back on a big league now. This is kind of fun. I mean, this part of it isn't fun, but this right here, a little flip back through the legs. No harm done, but that's one that gets everybody's attention in the dugout. And by everybody, I mean the manager. He's like, what are we doing here?
Okay. When did we work on that play? It's 2 on, nobody out for J.D. Martinez. As you can see, the last 8 games, he has lit it up. 333, 4 runs batted in, 6 extra base hits. He's another of those who's made some adjustments that have really worked out. And J.D. in last night's game had 2 hits and a walk. He drove in 2 runs. In the air, and the right fielder comes in for it. Venable. Too shallow for any advance. 1 out. With Jordan Schaefer coming up next. Schaefer in the 8th spot in the lineup the last several games. Chance to do some RBI damage here with Jordan Lyles moving out to the on deck circle. He's driven in 17 this year with a .240 batting average. Jordan last night had a hit, was hit by a pitch, drew a walk, stole a base. It's strike 1 for Wells, who was all state at Elkins High School. Member of the state 5A championship team.
Well, you can make a lot of money right there.
Bet. His father Robert pitched at the University of Texas for 4 years. He was a star at Baylor. Set school records for wins, innings, and strikeouts.
Elkins, the same high school that produced James Loney.
Kip Wells trying to avoid his 100th career loss tonight.
Probably thrilled, though, with the opportunity to get his 100th career loss.
True. Well, he signed
kind of a twisted kind of way, right?
Yeah, right. Well, it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
He signed May 7th with the Padres. He won 1-4 at Tucson with a 4.97 ERA and 7 starts. His last 3 starts, he was 0-3 with an 8.22 ERA. So sure, he'd have to be thrilled to be on this mound tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's one of those situations that the Padres have been banged up so much and spread so thin. I'm sure it's just a matter of, you know, the big league people calling down, who you got? Who do you like? Well, you know, Wells isn't pitching all that great in terms of his numbers, but he's been around a long time and stuff still looks halfway decent. Why don't you give him a shot? All right, get him up here.
Schaefer tops one foul. The Padres, with their transactions, brought Wells up to the major league roster today. They recalled right-handed reliever Nick Vincent from AA San Antonio. They optioned infielder Andy Perino and right-handed reliever Brad Boxberger to Tucson. And they transferred a pitcher on the DL, Joe Whelan, to the 60-day disabled list.
So Buddy's trying to get Baker to pick up the pace with Wells.
Okay.
Again, that's been kind of the knock on Kip. Just too deliberate, not willing to attack the strike zone, and I think Buddy's trying to have him take a more aggressive approach.
3-2, 1 out, 2 men on. Chris Johnson at second.
The old Ray Miller philosophy. More quickly throw strikes. Babe Ruth is dead.
Schaefer draws the walk. That's number 3. And Jordan Lyles bats with the bases loaded and 1 out.
When Ray Miller was the pitching coach at Pittsburgh, he gave all of his guys T-shirts with that motto on it.
Sure did.
And this pitch is a good pitch. Could have easily been called a strike, but again, when you're out of the zone that much and you're working slowly, it affects. We talk how it affects the infielders who play behind you, but I think it affects the umpire too. He gets kind of knocked off his game a little bit.
It's Lyles who's 2 for 10 with 1 RBI. With a chance to give himself the lead. Bixler on deck with the bases loaded. Forsythe, the third baseman, even with the bag. Kotze's in tight. And there's ball 1. Padres beginning today. We're looking for this patch. It's saying in their game notes that they're wearing patches with the number 48.
Yeah, I have seen that on a couple of the guys.
It's in remembrance of their bullpen coach Daryl Ackerfeld, who passed away Sunday. There's the patch. He passed away of pancreatic cancer. It's 1-1. Beloved figure on their club, and he was the longest tenured coach on the Padres staff. He was in his 12th season with the Major League club and his 16th in the organization. The Astros 10 for 59 with the bases loaded. Have hit 3 grand slams. CJ's coming home. Here's the squeeze, but it's fouled.
I like it.
Bases loaded, squeeze.
Oh, the Don Zimmer playbook.
Yes. Good timing by Chris.
Good job by Lyles. You know, if you don't get it down fair, at least make contact.
Now 1-2. And a strikeout. 2 outs. Well, the worst thing would have been a double play. Now Bixler gets a chance to hit. Bixler popped to second in the first inning.
Yeah, it certainly would have been unconventional to try that squeeze again with 2 strikes, but might not have been a bad play. Lyles might have been able to make an adjustment and get the ball down.
Yeah.
It's just a ball game. Might as well have a little fun. Nobody's going to win a pennant here.
Bixler gets the 2-out bases loaded shot with Lowry on deck. Bud Black has announced that Conroe native Andrew Kashner will start Thursday in the series finale here. Astros are still TBA for Thursday for Brad Mills. He'll wait until tomorrow night. Well, one reason for that is to make sure nobody gets injured during the game tomorrow night. Even though he's got to know who's starting Thursday. It's 2 balls, no strikes. And it would be Bud Norris. Unless there's a big surprise. That's his turn to pitch, but it's also Dallas Keuchel's turn to pitch. Bud pitched at AAA Oklahoma City on a rehab assignment. And that was the same day Dallas Keuchel pitched for the Astros and went the distance. Two balls, 1 strike to Bixler, and Bixler's filled in capably. For Jose Altuve, his hamstring is improving quickly. Brad Mills saying before the game that Bixler has not played a lot of second base. And, Jose was preparing to put down a bunt as a pinch hitter last night, but the Astros didn't use him. Chopped to shortstop. Cabrera charging and throwing on the run to get him. And it's no runs, a hit. 3 men stranded for the Astros after 2. No score.
making cancer history. It was on this date in 1988 that Craig Biggio made his major league debut in a 6-0 shutout win over the Giants. He was hitting 8. He was 0 for 2, but he had a walk. Then he stole a base, scored a run. Jim Deshaies and Larry Anderson combined on the shutout. And if he was hitting 8, it was a good move for him to walk and then steal a base and not have to rely on J.D. to lay down a bunt.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why that graphic doesn't read on this date in baseball history. Jim Deshaies and Larry Anderson combined on a shutout. And oh, by the way, Craig Biggio made his major league debut.
Oh, yeah, that was backwards.
Let's get our priorities straight here.
How many guys catch a shutout in their major league debut?
Yeah, and it was after that game, Bish was overheard saying, man, if there's a lot of guys like J.D. in this league, I'm going to get 3,000 hits. And there you go.
No score as Will Venable is in the box and ready to go in the 3rd inning against Jordan Lyles. Strike 1 to Venable. He grounded out to Carlos Lee, leading off the game. Jordan Lyles making his 9th start. This is his 4th different stint with the Astros this season.
Ooh, I think we found a hole.
Yes. 0-2.
Oh, up and in heater to the left-handed hitter, especially a tall guy. Likes to use his leverage and go down and get the ball, but he can't lay off that high one. That time he did.
1-2. Nolan Fontana worked out on the field before this game. Took batting practice. Ground balls. In tight. Check swing call. He checked it. Ron Culpa with a call. It's 2-2. Nolan Fontana is headed for a full season club, Class A Lexington in the South Atlantic League. That is rare for a first-year player in the Astros organization. Hit deep to right field. Bogusevic backing on it, watching it fly, and that's off the wall. And Venable is going to stretch it out and go to third as the ball's dropped, and he'll make it without a play.
And they're calling for a home run in the Padre dugout, and I'm pretty sure Bud Black's going to come out and ask the umpires to take a look at this one. No marker scorecards yet, folks. There is that railing behind the wall out there we've seen balls hit off of.
It's going out to the second base umpire, the crew chief, Darryl Cousins. See if we can see it here. Yeah, it looked like it was over the yellow line and off that railing.
My vision's not good enough to tell. I'll defer to you on that one. But that look there. And I guess the question is, will they end up having a definitive look?
They're going to head up the tunnel and take an effort at it.
Looks like a home run.
Well, you, of course, remember very well the days of Jerry Park in Montreal, J.D.
Mm-hmm.
Where you saw your first major league game, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Do you happen to recall that early in an evening on a sunny night there was a real glare off those aluminum seats?
They had these aluminum bleachers. There's aluminum bleachers, yeah.
Well, I believe it was Larry Parrish who hit the ball to left center field one night, and Mike Lum was playing left field for Cincinnati, and he ran over, and he could see that the ball hit in the first row of an unoccupied seat and bounced back. But he played it perfectly as if it was off the wall. He really pulled
firing.
it off. Yeah, it should have been a homer. But, of course, long before home run review, and it was a triple. Sometimes the outfielder could sell it back in the, quote, old days.
Yeah, before all this technology.
And Bogey did what he could do. Looks like it's going to be a home run, though. We were talking about this the last time we had a review, and afterwards I asked Brad Mills, do the umpires have to go in and look at it if you ask for a review? He said no, they don't have to, but almost always they do, and it's a home run. So Venable makes the final 90 feet on home run number 6 of the season and gives the Padres a 1-0 lead.
You talk about Cadillac and a home run trot. That took him forever to get around those bases.
That's 20 runs batted in for Venable this season. And 1-0 Padres with Maben coming up next. The 7th home run surrendered by Lyles. He's pitched 47 innings.
Yeah, again, the lefty's getting some pretty good swings at him here tonight. He just, earlier he got him to swing and miss at that high fastball. That one he kind of left down in the happy zone.
Maben takes that one. It's strike one. Maben struck out in the first inning. Philadelphia 4, Pittsburgh 2. They're in the top of the 6th at Philly. Ty Wigginton hit his 8th home run. Chase Utley's just about ready to come back. Maybe tomorrow. Well, he might even be in the lineup tonight. We'll check. Super Scout Charlie Kerfeld is here for this series. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Vance Worley is pitching for the Phillies against Eric Bedard in that matchup. I wonder what Charlie's on the trail of. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I'm sure he took a good look at Wandy last night. Probably identified both of these clubs that are looking to move people.
Do you suppose if Ruben Amaro Jr. thinks that he's a seller, Cole Hamels goes somewhere?
There's been some talk of that in Philadelphia.
Popped up. Chris Johnson over. Reaching and snagging it.
I don't know. If I'm the Phillies, just because I'm having a bad year now, I don't back up the truck. I still like my chances to compete with a lot of those guys I have.
Right.
So you might just treat this as a bad year, an aberration, and go get them. They still have a half a season to play with, and depending on what happens with Utley and Halladay and Howard, they could still get back in that race. So, my guess is right now they're just kind of holding the line. They're going to wait to see how things play out until we get much closer to the deadline at the end of July.
They're 8 games out right now. Carlos Quentin's name has been tossed around in trade rumors. There's strike 1 to Quentin. He popped a second in the first inning.
The Phillies certainly could use a bat. You could use some offense.
And the Pittsburgh Pirates could use a hard-hitting corner outfielder. In the air, foul, and here's Castro coming over for it. Listen to mask away, but he can't get to it. 1 balls, 2 strikes. The Pirates don't have a whole lot going in terms of power in right field and left field. They have a center fielder who's way above average. But they have Alex Presley playing most of the time in left, Jose Tabata in right. Perhaps they might come calling for Carlos Quentin. Padres are about to undergo an ownership change.
Well, I would imagine the Cubs will be shopping Brian LaHare now that they've called up Rizzo.
True. He's making his debut tonight.
He might be a good fit for the Pirates to play some first base.
Could be.
It's fun to make trades for other teams. I like this.
That's off the glove of Bixler. Trickles out into left center as a hit for Quentin. And Quentin certainly attracting attention with the numbers he is putting up for the Padres. Second hit of the inning. Mark Kotze is next. Kotze grounded to shortstop.
Hey, Bronson Arroyo has a no-hitter going.
Ooh, how many innings?
7 against the Brewers.
We'll have to keep close tabs on that. Kotze looks at ball 1. Wonder how many he has struck out.
The crew scuffling, boy. That beat 3-1 last night. Matt Latos pitched a complete game with a bunch of strikeouts against them.
Hooked into right field by Kotze. Quentin to second on the single. The 3rd hit of the inning. Baker's coming up next. Baker reached on the error by Chris Johnson in the 2nd inning. The Angels lead at Baltimore 5-1. They're in the middle of the 6th inning with C.J. Wilson on the mound. Peter Borges hit his 3rd home run. Albert Pujols number 12. Steve Pearce number 2 for Baltimore. The Orioles only have 2 really sound starting pitchers statistically right now. The other 3 guys all have ERAs of 5 or above. And yet they're having quite a year. They strike 1. They have a good bullpen. They're 41-31. They're 3 games behind the Yankees, but they have Brian Mattis with a 5.00 ERA, Jake Arrieta 5.55, Tommy Hunter 5.70. So they might look for some pitching help.
Yeah. I mean, in that division, in their ballpark, you take that into account. Those ERAs not quite that bad, but still, the way pitching has been around baseball this year, you would expect better on a first place club, or a club that's been around first place pretty much all year long. And now 3 games back of the Bombers.
Bombers lead over Cleveland 4-0 after 6.
Yes, he did.
Baker struck out. 2 outs.
He too vulnerable to that high heater. Big punch out.
Very big. Everett Cabrera is next. Baker really torqued his neck too as he's tried to avoid swinging at that. Cabrera singled through the left side in the 2nd inning. Phil Hughes working the shutout for the Yankees tonight against the Tribe and Justin Masterson. In tight. There's ball 1 to Cabrera. Lyles looked down at his footing after delivering that pitch. Atlanta leads Arizona 5-1. They're in the bottom of the 6th in Atlanta. Michael Bourne hit his 7th home run. 7 already for Michael.
Is that a career high?
I think it is already. Jason Kubel, number 11 for Arizona. 2 balls, no strikes. Braves have lost 6 of their last 7 home games. And Arizona has had the best month of any National League club so far, 14-7.
They just called up that Bauer kid.
Yeah, he's supposed to start Thursday.
Yeah.
Trevor Bauer from UCLA. Line shot goes foul. 2 balls and a strike.
He was just drafted last year, correct?
Yes. Arizona's won 4 in a row. Now 37-35, just 5 behind the Dodgers. The Dodgers lost to the Giants last night. So they have a 2-game lead over San Francisco now. A very tight NL West. 2-1 to Cabrera. And that's ball 3. Toronto 1, Boston nothing. They're in the bottom of the 6th at Boston, where now it's Will Middlebrooks' job at third base. There's the look at the NL West. Colorado and San Diego way back. That is ball 4 and the bases are loaded.
Awfully cautious to Everett Cabrera there. They're giving him a little bit too much respect.
First walk to Lyles. You know, Will Middlebrooks is the first guy since Albert Pujols to come out with these stats through his first 40 games in the majors. At least a .331 batting average, 9 homers, 33 runs batted in. Be interesting to see what he does for a full season, or most of one. Amarista singled to right in the 2nd inning. He gets a breaking ball up, and it's ball 1 to Amarista. Formerly with the Angels. It's Quentin at third, Kotze at second, Cabrera at first. In the air, but out of play for Chris Johnson for a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Astros have put together a terrific run of starting pitching for 7 games prior to last night. Last night, Wandy Rodriguez was able to hang in, and he was in good shape to get the win with a 1-run lead, but got a no decision after giving up 4 runs in the 2nd and 1 in the 3rd. He retired the final 10, but the Astros lost it late. 2 balls and a strike.
Jordan just falling off that pitch a little bit, leaving it upstairs. Has to get back to basics and start driving that fastball down around the knees.
Punched out towards shortstop. Lowry comes after it and makes the play to Carlos Lee. Venable's home run makes it Padres 1, Astros nothing after 2.5. Bottom of the third inning, each club leaving the bases loaded early. The Astros have done it once, the Padres twice. AT&T trivia question. And Kip Wells is one of 3 active players from Elkins High School. Who are the other 2? You told us about James Loney earlier. Let's see if we can get number 3. Elkins High School.
I have no idea.
All right, we'll think about it for a couple of days and consult the internet, and we'll get back to you. Foam finger being passed around there as the Astros come up in the home third. Lowry, Lee, and Bogusevic against Kip Wells. Jed Lowry hit a fly ball to left in the first inning. There's strike one. Lowry was talking with Nolan Fontana, the guy who was just drafted in the second round by the Astros from the University of Florida, around the batting cage today. And Chris Johnson told us about his conversation with Rio Reese last night during the game. We were hearing this, Greg Lucas down there, that Chris was in the on-deck circle and he looked over at Rio Reese and said, what are you trying to take my job or something? And they had a little laugh about that. So it's nice to have that little byplay, that a guy who just got drafted can have some fun with an established major league player.
Yeah. The answer, of course, is yes, but just not immediately.
Yeah, right.
It's an easier conversation to have with an 18-year-old kid than it is with a guy down at AAA. I want your job.
Deep drive. That's a bomb toward the Astros bullpen, and it's caught. No, it's a home run for Lowry to tie the game 1-1. Jed Lowry hits number 14. Just got it over that fence into the Astros bullpen to tie the game 1-1. 33 runs batted in for Lowry. Well, the way he had the liftoff on that, it sure looked like a home run. Then it looked like Venable was up against the wall catching it.
Well, it's such a big part of the ballpark, and he hit it so high. And that gives you an idea how strong, deceptively strong, Jed Lowry is. He's not a big guy, but he can hit a big fly.
Clearly off the bench, and easily a home run for Lowry, leading all major league shortstops in long balls. And now Carlos Lee taking ball 1. So Lowry ties it in a battle of homers here in the third inning. One that was reviewed and the other one that made it. And he hit it to a very large part of the ballpark. Time for the Farmers Insurance report card now. With his next home run, Carlos Lee will tie Richard Hidalgo for 9th on the Astros home run list. Fouled away. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Carlos. Well, Lowry now with 8 of his 14 homers here at home, following that trend some of the other Astros hitters have. Jed hit that one a long way. Carlos Lee out into left center. Quentin cutting over for the grab for out number 1. And it's Bogusevic coming up next. The Astros have hit 44 of their 69 home runs in this ballpark this year. Well, Lowry could have that club record for a shortstop secured by the All-Star break the way he's going. Bogusevic bounced into a force in the first inning. That's ball 1. Dickie Thon hit 20. 1983. Milwaukee got 3 in the 8th and broke up Arroyo's no-hitter. Now tied the game, still batting 3-3. Liner over Kotze and on by the second baseman Amarista into right field for a Bogusevic hit.
Soft line drive with a broken bat. Very elusive line drive, just over the head of Kotze, just beyond the reach of Amarista.
Who's that other player from Elkins High School? Matt Carpenter of the Cardinals. We remember now.
Oh. He was just activated the other day, wasn't he? Off
Sure
the DL.
was. Yes, he was. Had some good games early this year. Chris Johnson drew a 4-pitch walk in the second inning. 5 hits for the Padres, 3 for the Astros here in the third. And there's the throw over on Bogey, who is 7 for 10 in steals. The Astros stole 3 bases last night, including a double steal. So not only did Arroyo lose the no-hitter, but he lost the lead. Milwaukee's still batting in the top of the 8th, tied 3-3. Jay Bruce hit his 17th for Cincinnati. And Arroyo is still in that game. Johnson looking at ball 1.
They go from a near no-hitter to possibly sucking up an L. That's a tough blow.
You know it.
He's a musician. He'll be playing the blues tonight. I got them, blew my no-hitter and also lost the game. This game drives me nuts, sometimes blues.
Good night to compose a song, and he's feeling down. Whoa, he was leaning a little bit, and Bogey got back. Detroit leads at Texas 3-1. They're in the top of the 4th. Prince Fielder hit his 12th home run. Ian Kinsler, number 8. Bobby Heck, who is in charge of the scouting for the Astros, was talking about the draft. And he was at Milwaukee when the Brewers drafted Prince Fielder. He said they caught a lot of flack for that pick. Caught flack for picking Ryan Braun. We were talking about these instant analyses of drafts. And there was something out on the internet today analyzing the Astros draft. And, you know, they would say, well, this guy's a utility guy. And, well, how in the world would you know that now?
Yeah, well, it's just speculation. Just profiling based on a guy's body type. And
exactly. It's 2-0.
And, you know, they're probably right a fair amount. But
True.
There's a lot of outliers, too, guys. That, you know, I don't know that Dustin Pedroia was expected to be the player that he's turned out to be. I don't know, and maybe he was.
Maybe. We talked about another Florida shortstop, David Eckstein. Nolan Fontana coming from Florida. And Eckstein was just a tremendous major league player. I think he had to walk on at Florida, JD, if memory serves. So not highly regarded in college. But boy, did he turn out to be a player.
So why did they take so much heat for drafting Prince?
I don't know. He didn't really say. I would imagine his weight, maybe. And Braun, he said, they said Braun had a hitch in his swing and he'll never hit in the major leagues. Even though he was a well-established star at UCLA. So it's going to be interesting to see how this draft works out. The Astros very, very happy the way their plan came together. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and he said this was the way we had hoped it would go, that we would not have to spend, the required amount of money for the first overall pick, go to the maximum to sign him, that we could save some money there on Carlos Correa and spend it on the subsequent picks, and that's exactly what they've done to sign Rio Reese and McCullers and the others. Runner to second. Amarista gets the force play. No relay to first. They had time, but it looked as if Cabrera couldn't get a grip on the ball. 2 outs.
I had that shot of the general manager's booth on the top row there. Sig Meidel, the director of decision sciences for the Astros. He could have told you that was going to happen right before the pitch.
Yeah.
He was checking it out and he said, there's a 72% chance we're going to get a ground ball to the second baseman here.
Jim Crane up there in the booth. A lot of activity there as they talk with Nolan Fontana. Bogusevic did a nice job on that slide to make sure Cabrera did not have an easy time turning a double play. Castro hit a grounder off Wells, went for an infield hit. There's ball 1. And Bobby Heck, this is the 5th year of his drafts. He said, if you'll notice, every year with our first pick, we've taken an up the middle position player, Jason Castro in 08 from Stanford, a catcher, or it's been a middle infielder or a center fielder. Every year, George Springer, center fielder last year. And he said, with our second pick every year, it's not by design, but the way it's worked out, we've taken a high school pitcher. And he said, we have a mix of high school and college players in those early rounds in the draft. That's been the way it's worked every year so far. 2-0 to Castro.
Well, it just seems to me in baseball now you can shake a tree and get a guy that throws 95. There's so many hard throwers, good arms out there. And that doesn't mean you discount them or you don't want to pile up a bunch of them. But from one year to the next, there's probably a fair number of those guys available, and not only in the draft but also bouncing around on major league rosters that you could end up getting some utility out on your club. So if you can get a frontline talent, shortstop, center fielder, catcher, high demand position, high ceiling guy, that makes a lot of sense to me to go in that direction.
Cabrera back for the pop up, and he retires Castro, but the Lowry home run ties it 1-1. Jed goes deep for the 14th time for the club leader, and after 3 it's a battle of solo homers.
And the Astros are excited to welcome contemporary Christian recording artist Mercy Me for the second Faith and Family Night of the season, coming up on Saturday, July 28th. The concert will take place following the 3:05 game against the Pirates, and the concert is included with your game ticket. Tickets for Faith and Family Night featuring Mercy Me are available at astros.com/mercy. Brownie, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. 1-1 ball game. We look forward to that concert coming up. We enjoyed the other one so much Saturday night. Big crowd stayed around for that one after the Saturday game. It's popped up by Forsythe leading off the 4th inning, and he finally runs. Doesn't matter, it's a foul ball. And that's out number 1 for Lyles. He was headed for the dugout, then he decided maybe we should run on this.
It was the straightest pop-up in the history of the sport right there. I mean,
straight up the chute.
Jason didn't have to move.
Nope. Now it's Kip Wells batting. Wells hit the ground ball to second with the bases loaded in the 2nd inning. Padres had the bases loaded, 1 out. Forsythe fouled out, and then Lyles got Wells.
Lyles has worked awfully hard the last 2 innings. Faced a lot of batters in the 2nd and 3rd. Left the bases loaded. He's only allowed 1 run on the home run, but bases juiced both innings. So he needs a nice clean inning here. And he's set up to do so. 8-9-1 up. He got 8. Now he's 0-2 on 9.
No balls, 2 strikes. 63 pitches for Jordan Lyles so far. It's a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Alex Rodriguez has hit his 13th home run for the Yankees. They lead Cleveland 5-0, bottom of the 8th. Curve works for strike 3. 3rd strikeout for Lyles.
Maben in the 1st on a curveball. Baker chased a high fastball last inning and now drops that hook in there to freeze Kip Wells. Venable taking a little extra time here to give Wells a little breather. Not that he expended a whole lot of energy in that AB.
Venable homered in the 3rd. He is 1 for 2. And strike 1. Scott Moore should have arrived by now from Oklahoma City, where he played this afternoon for the Red Hawks. Just joining the Astros to replace the injured Justin Maxwell.
Did he get a hit today?
No, he was 0 for 4.
I said we got to get him in there to give him a hit at each level in the same day.
That's true.
That would be fairly unique.
He was hitting .318, 10 homers, 54 runs batted in, 26 doubles. Up the middle, backhanded Bixler, low throw, and Carlos Lee is there for out number 3. Well done by Bixler and Lee for a 1-2-3 4th for Lyles in a 1-1 game.
Brought to you by Jack in the Box. Right now you can try the new Chipotle Chicken Club Combo. And by the all-new Mazda CX-5 with 35 highway miles per gallon. Now between innings there was action on the field. Fans got to recognize the Astros' newest signee in this 1-1 game. There it is, Brownie.
Nolan Fontana, and Greg, a middle infielder, a shortstop for the University of Florida. He'll be headed for Class A Lexington. Usually it's the New York Penn League team, the Tri-City team for the Astros. That's where the college players go. But in his case, he's more advanced, coming from a top-notch college program, being an excellent player. And so he's going to head for Lexington. It's a challenging step, but the Astros feel that he's certainly ready for that. And Bart will be chatting with him in the 6th inning. There's ball 1 to J.D. Martinez. Nolan Fontana is named for Nolan Ryan, and his grandfather was pitcher Lou Burdett. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Somewhere along the line, he missed the memo. He was supposed to be a pitcher. What happened?
Not sure. He's a switch hitter. Took some swings from both sides of the plate in the cage today. Sharp breaking ball there for Kip Wells, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes to J.D. Martinez with Schaefer and Lyles to follow. And Jeff Luhnow explained that when he was with the Cardinals, they took some premier college players in the draft like John Jay, Shane Robinson, Chris Perez, and they started them at a Class A full season league rather than a short season league, and it worked out well for them. So with certain select players, that's the plan. Toward right field. That backs up Venable. For out number 1 for Wells. And Schaefer will be next. Schaefer drew a walk on a 3-2 pitch in the 2nd inning. It's St. Louis 5, Miami 2. They're in the top of the 8th at Miami. Yadier Molina hit his 12th homer. Giancarlo Stanton, number 17. Cardinals dropped a 5 spot on the Marlins in the 1st inning. And they are really coming on. They're getting some players healthy again now. They were 2 games behind Cincinnati when play started tonight. Pittsburgh also 2 back. Schaefer trying to reach for Lyles. Showing butt, and it's ball 1. White Sox lead 2-0 at Minnesota after 4. Alex Rios hit his 9th home run. Cubs lead the Mets 3-2 after 3. That's the debut of Anthony Rizzo.
Yeah, he got a knock. He's 1 for 2. Boy, they were geeked up about that in Chicago.
Well, he's batting 3rd tonight, playing first base. He hit .345 at Iowa. 23 homers, 62 runs batted in 69 games.
Brian LaHare, who was really one of the better stories for the Cubs this year, is playing right field tonight.
Cubs had to wait, according to one story, until at least June 23rd to avoid moving that service time clock up 1 year on Anthony Rizzo. He was up last year for a little while with the Padres and then traded over the winter. And interestingly enough, the general manager of the Padres last year was Jed Hoyer. He is now the general manager of the Cubs. Rizzo had great numbers last year as well at AAA, but came up and didn't do much at all. But he's tightened up his swing a little bit, we understand, since last year. That's into center field, and Schaefer is aboard for Lyles. 1 out single for Schaefer.
Well, the book says bunt him over here and let Bixler try to drive him in, but I'm not so sure I agree with the book in this situation with 1 out already and Lyles being a guy who handles the bat pretty well. I'd be inclined to try to steal a base here.
Okay.
Or at least consider it, and then have 2 whacks of driving him in, first with Lyles and then with Bixler.
Well, and the numbers support that attempt. Kip Wells is not that great at preventing stolen bases. Schaefer's a good base stealer. Baker's thrown out 8%. That's strike 1.
Again, this is kind of the majority of managers would play it this way, just straight sacrifice.
Bixler's on deck. Forsythe in at third base. Foul ball. No balls, 2 strikes to Lyles. Kip Wells had a winning record a portion of the season in '99 when he came up with the White Sox. He was 4-1. He had a winning record in '03 with Pittsburgh, 10-9. Those are the only 2 years he's had winning major league records. Lyles gets the bunt down and advances Schaefer on out number 2. Third sacrifice for Jordan, and he got it down on an 0-2 count.
Well, probably the toughest of the 3 pitches that he had to deal with. Unless he just has a knack for bunting the fastball that's at his chin.
Yeah. It was tough.
It's amazing. Self-preservation kicks in, and you're just trying to defend yourself against that ball, and you end up putting down a good bunt. Hard to jab at it when you're backing out of the way.
Oh, yeah. Doug Brocail had to like it. Bixler has popped to second rather, and grounded to short. Kansas City leads Tampa Bay 4-2. They've played 4. Brooks Conrad hit his 3rd for the Rays. Betancourt number 5 for Kansas City. Lowry's on deck. Foul back with Altuve nursing the hamstring. Brad Mills wants to make sure that Altuve is really close to 100% before he starts him again. Those can be very troublesome injuries. They can nag for a long time.
That was maybe the most aggressive bluff I've ever seen by a pitcher to second base. Man, did he sell that.
He sure did. Roll foul. No balls, 2 strikes. Game 3 of this series will be tomorrow night at 7:05. Astros Live comes your way at 6:30 tomorrow night. Clayton Richard and Lucas Harrell. There's Scott Moore.
Get him in there. He needs redemption. He took an 0 for this afternoon. Was it Joel Youngblood or Doug Flynn? Somebody Youngblood. Right?
Youngblood,
got
yes.
traded and had hits for 2 different teams on the same day.
Yes, he did. They played a Wrigley Field game in the afternoon. Then he went, I think, to Philly for a night game. Popped up foul. Kotze reaches in but can't make the play.
That's the kind of player you want, Joel Youngblood.
Yes.
I don't need that 3 days to report. You need me? Got a game tonight? I'll be there.
How about that? Playing for 2 different teams and getting hits for both in the same day. It's Washington 3, Colorado 1. They're in the bottom of the 3rd at Coors Field. Adam LaRoche hit his 14th for the Nats with Gio Gonzalez on the mound. Dodgers and Giants play at San Francisco later. Kershaw and Vogelsong. Bouncer goes foul, 3rd base side. Still 0-2 to Bixler.
Well, I hope everybody's hanging in there. It was like 109 today. You feel it in the ballpark. I mean, even though the air conditioning is running, I mean, you can only do so much when it's 109 degrees out.
Yeah.
A little more challenging for the pitchers on a night like tonight in here than a normal night.
There was a storm in the northwest part of Houston, including some hail late this afternoon. Wells changes speeds and gets a strikeout on Bixler. He keeps the game tied with strikeout number 2, 1-1 after 4.
Drive. Kevin Eschenfelder back with you here at Minute Maid Park tomorrow night. Game 3 of the 4-game set with the Friars. Lucas Harrell goes to the mound, hoping the sinker is sinking. 16th start, just like Lyles last time out. He was really good. A hard luck loser, worked 7 innings, allowed just 1 run on 2 hits and a 2-0 loss to Cleveland. He will go against former Michigan Wolverine quarterback Clayton Richard. Our coverage begins tomorrow night at 6:30. This has been your Mazda Game Break. Brownie and JD, we want to remind you, I know you guys have talked a lot about Jeff Luhnow in this in the game tonight. He will be joining Sparky and I live tomorrow night on the set for Astros Live.
Good show coming up tomorrow night, 6:30. Sparky with the bright red shirt on tonight, really styling. Cameron Maben in a 1-1 game. Bunts in the air and caught by Castro. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 5th for Jordan Lyles.
He got his 1, 2, 3, 4th, and now a quick out here to start the 5th, keeping a speedy man off base. Not a bad idea, but not well executed by Maben, and good athletic play by Castro.
Carlos Quentin is 1 for 2.
See, it's plays like that that leads me to believe that Castro is going to be just fine back there. You know, he's had some problems this year with balls squirting by him. He probably should have been able to block, but he's athletic enough. I think he's going to figure that out.
Well, his hitting has just been so much better here the last 3 weeks. He missed all of last year. Things really coming together well for Jason Castro.
Got all the things you like in a catcher too, because you know he's got to communicate with the pitchers, but he's a hitter, so he's part of both tribes. So you want a smart guy, you want a guy that everybody likes and respects, because there really are 2 different tribes in that clubhouse: the pitching tribe and the hitter's tribe.
There's not exactly a line across the floor, but
no, but there's a social. It used to drive me nuts when they would call the position players the regulars. So I guess that meant pitchers were irregulars.
Whoa.
Of course, when you're around some of them, it's hard to deny that. We had a whole lot of irregulars here over the years. And one of them down on the seat somewhere tonight, Big Charlie. He was irregular in many ways.
Charlie's fun.
Watch your chin now.
Phrase chin music. What does that mean exactly? We know.
Yeah, we know what it is, but yeah, what are the origins? Why chin music?
Chin music?
That's a great question.
Check swing call. He did not go. Jim Wolf with a call. He's been lifting. It's 3-2.
Randy Wolf's brother Jim down there at first base. I think a pitcher's brother would ring him up.
He might be the most in shape umpire. Look at those arms on him.
He's the head hockey live baseball. My goodness.
I don't think you want to get into a tussle with Jim Wolf. Good grief, is he in shape?
All these umpires have a lot of downtime. Probably in the gym pumping iron 4 hours a day.
That's ball 4. Quentin takes the walk. Number 2 for Lyles.
Kind of lost his command there. After that first one up and in, he really had him set up to go down and away, but he never could make the pitch.
Now Kotsay. Kotsay's 1 for 2. Mike Hessman hit another homer last night for Oklahoma City. They lost today, but Hessman last night hit his 21st homer. He's second in the PCL. Bogusevic in. Bixler out. Bogusevic calls him off. 2 outs.
Well, according to Wikipedia, in the late 1800s, at baseball's inception, the phrase chin music was used to describe razzing or heckling from the fans.
Oh, okay.
And then it began being used as a synonym for a brushback pitch around World War II.
Interesting. John Baker is 0 for 2. Reached on an error and he struck out.
Still, they really don't give us the why. They just tell us the when. We're looking for the why here.
Yes.
There's Julian Assange. He should be able to get this for us.
Quentin draws a little attention over there from Lyles. Padres 1, Astros 1. Padres have won 4 straight from the Astros. That's a ball. Make it 1-0. 4-game series here. 4-game series in San Diego between these two in July. Mike Foltynewicz at Lexington has his ERA down to 2.18 now. It's 2 balls, no strikes. Got a no decision last night. Delino DeShields stole 2 bases. He already has the club record for Lexington. 51 steals for the year now for DeShields. Ball 3, and it's 3-0 to Baker. .79 pitches thrown by Jordan Lyles.
That had the command of the strike zone.
No, he's battled it tonight, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's interesting because when you look at his game by game, we talked about this last start. He finally faced a club that really didn't have a great lineup. And most of his starts have been in tough situations, either tough ballparks or very difficult lineups. And that would really help to explain that ERA up over 5 before this start. But last time against the Royals, they didn't have a great lineup. And this club doesn't have a lot of firepower either. So he's not, he's only given up 1 run. So, at the end of the day, he's got a chance to put up some pretty good numbers in this game. But I'm sure Doug Brocail is very frustrated with the amount of times he's fallen behind and pitched somewhat cautiously to hitters who are not particularly dangerous. Now, that may be a matter of being too fine, or maybe a matter of just not being able to throw the ball where he wants to. We tend to think, well, he's being too fine, he's picking. Sometimes you're trying to throw right down the middle, and you just can't.
Ball 1 to Cabrera. He has a single and a walk.
Can't hit that bullseye every time. Even those guys on TV throwing those darts, they miss every now and then.
He's not a machine. 1 ball, 1 strike. Who was the best pitcher at throwing strikes that you ever saw?
Maddox.
He hardly ever walked anybody.
Yeah. Well, and not just throwing strikes, but just throwing the ball where he wanted.
Right.
Sometimes he didn't want to throw it in the zone. Roger was that way too. Roger would have a game where he'd walk 4 or 5 guys, and you would ask. I remember in particular one game in Seattle, and asking him about his command that night. He goes, I just didn't want to give in. I was more than happy to walk those guys.
Well, he was very smart in his approach, and he realized, and you've talked about this quite a bit down through the years, bases loaded walk sometimes isn't the worst thing.
Yeah. No, and you have to have a little courage to make that borderline pitch, or to throw one off the edge and hope a guy chases in that situation where you risk walking in a run, because there's kind of a stigma attached to it. People get a little worked up over that.
Sure they do. Well, he snapped off the curve. He got a strikeout. He got out of 5th inning trouble. It's strikeout number 4, and he's hanging in as the game tied 1-1. play, we look back at Jed Lowry's game-tying homer in the third. At first I thought Venable had caught it, but no, it was clearly over the right center field wall. Well, Lowry's 14th home run of the year. No doubt about that Jed Lowry long ball. Off the bat, it really looked like it was going to reach the bullpen, and it did so easily. So let's see. 14 homers. Single season record by an Astros shortstop. Dickie Thon with 20. 1983. Orlando Miller had 15 in 96.
Thon was on his way to superstardom before getting hit in the face by a fastball.
From Mike Torres.
Yeah. Power, speed, could do it all.
What a player. Jed Lowry 1 for 2 in this game.
The single season home run record by a middle infielder for the Astros belongs to Jeff Kent. He had 27 one year.
He's coming back in September. There's a rumor he's going to be on one of the Survivor Series coming up.
That seems to fit.
It does. Popped up foul, now to play.
See J.K. roaming around with a dagger between his teeth. Yes, yes, yes.
What do they do for fun? 1 ball, 1 strike. Lowry takes that one for strike 2.
That should be a bumper sticker somewhere. Live every day as if you just got a foul ball at a ball game.
Yes. Carlos Lee on deck. Brian Bogusevic 2 up third. Wells has thrown 80 pitches. 44 have been strikes.
Hasn't been the cleanest game for either pitcher. Bottom line, though, there's just been 1 run apiece on the scoreboard so far. But Black in particular has to be very excited because he just had no idea what he was going to get out of Kip Wells here tonight.
Yeah. Lucas Harrell is up tomorrow night against Clayton Richard, who's won 3 in a row for the Padres. Lucas is 6-6. He really threw the ball well last time. Very fine game against Kansas City. Foul back. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Against Cleveland, shall we make it? He gave up 1 run in 7 innings on 2 hits, but lost the game 2-0. Lowry shoots one into right center field. Venable over to field it and hold Lowry to a single. Jed 2 for 3 tonight.
They had Amarista playing him to pull, and that gave Lowry a little extra room to the second baseman's right, and he exploited it. Hey, you know what chin music means in cricket?
No.
It's a term for a bowling strategy where bouncers are aimed at the batsman's throat or chin.
Oh, okay.
Cricket is cutthroat. My goodness.
It's a brutal sport. Takes about 3 days to play a game. Carlos Lee is a walk and a fly ball to left. Gets underneath this one. Cabrera out quickly in front of Quentin, and Quentin arrives late to the party for out number 1. Still a good idea to get out of the big fella's way if he wants it. Cabrera really covers the ground, though. He got out early, got underneath it, but still the yield sign goes up when the outfielder calls for it. 1 out, and it's Bogusevic next. Bogusevic is 1 for 2. The voting for the All-Star spots in the National League in the outfield very tight. And Ryan Braun has regained that 3rd starting outfield position. Bogusevic takes ball 1. He leads Melky Cabrera by 122,000 votes. Matt Kemp and Carlos Beltran have the first 2 spots in the outfield, but Kemp is on the disabled list and may not be back by the All-Star game. Not sure about that. Bouncer up the middle. Fires it into center field. Made a great play with a glove and then a terrible play with the arm. And he threw that ball away. It was an easy double play ball if he made the throw. But he heaved it into center field, and it's first and third and one out.
What a gift. And a big opportunity for the Astros to take the lead. Pretty slick play. You know, he tried the flick between the legs, the first base earlier. Now he goes a little behind the back to snag it. It's like we're playing the Globetrotters here tonight. But then the errant throw, and how ironic is that? The guy who gets paid to throw makes the unbelievable play with the glove, and then the errant throw.
But he was stepping up onto the mound as he made that throw. That sometimes adds to the degree of difficulty, but nonetheless it's an error for Skip Wells. Brad Brock warming up in the bullpen. And the batter's Chris Johnson. This gives Johnson and the Astros a golden opportunity. Runners at first and third and one out in a 1-1 game.
The reality is, if he just leaves that ball alone, it's probably a double play.
Point. So CJ, who's been delivering and has a 6-game hitting streak, has this opportunity to get Lowry home from third. Look at third, then a look at first. Next year, we're told that move will not be allowed.
Use it now. What's next from Kip? A little behind the back pass, a little no look. Magic Johnson.
Maybe so. Jason Castro's on deck. Off the plate. 1-1. Joey Votto leads all first basemen in voting for the National League All-Stars by a wide margin over Lance Berkman. Dan Uggla's the leader at second base. Jose Altuve still third. Brandon Phillips is second. Rafael Furcal is the shortstop leader with David Wright the top man at third base. Swing and the ball gets away, and Lowry comes to the plate to give the Astros the lead. 2-1 Houston. Lowry scoring and Bogusevic taking second on the pitch in the dirt.
So Wells makes the errant throw to second base, and now the wild pitch. The Astros have the lead. Leadoff single by Lowry to get it started. He comes around to score for the second time. Drove himself in last time with a solo home run.
Lowry slides home, and it's 2-1 Houston, with Chris Johnson at the plate with a 1-2 count, and Bogusevic also moved up a base on the wild pitch. Back. It's still a 1-ball 2-strike count on CJ.
Talking about the All-Star voting at first base, it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the National League. It's a lot thinner than it used to be with Pujols and Fielder out of the NL.
That's right. Berkman is second in the voting. Freddie Freeman third.
We're looking for the most deserving guy after Votto. It's probably Brian LaHair. Can't even play first base for his own team now.
1-2.
Adam LaRoche having a good year. Paul Goldschmidt of the Diamondbacks having a nice year. And they're the leaders right now. Right for Call Uggla joining Votto in the infield. The outfield, the voters seem to be getting it right.
Ogie has the lead over Yadier Molina. Carlos Ruiz is third. There's a shot into left field. Bogusevic's being waved home by Dave Clark. Quentin is deep. And that throw is cut off. It's 3-1 on an RBI single by Chris Johnson. 7-game hitting streak for Chris. It's his 34th run batted in.
Create a little separation here. We'll see how long Buddy Black stays with Wells. Fastball drifting in on CJ. Pulls the hands in, gets the barrel out. And you see Quentin, once the third base coach sees an outfielder having to move that far to one side or the other, he knows it's going to take him a while to straighten up and make a throw, and he's pretty deep to begin with. An easy decision there for Dave Clark to wave around Brian Bogusevic, who runs well.
Johnson keeps it going. And Castro's the batter. With Brock in the bullpen. Castro is 1 for 2. To center field. Maben with the grab. 2 outs. And now it's J.D. Martinez. J.D. twice his fly to right field. You can still vote for the All-Stars online at MLB.com until Thursday night, and then the teams will be announced soon after that. I believe it's Sunday. 93 pitches for Wells. 54 of them strikes. In tight, off the mid of Baker again, and Chris Johnson moves up. A difficult inning for Baker.
A ragged inning. Wells just dropped the throw. Baker's throwing the ball back to him. Baker kind of flinched on that one.
Pass ball. We have a wild pitch, pass ball. An error on the pitcher. Strange frame. Turn back towards second. Wells has thrown ball 1 to 15 of 25 batters in this game. The pitcher's spot is due up third in the top of the 6th inning. Bud Black just trying to get him through the 5th here. It's 1 ball, 1 strike. Kind of old home week for these Padre pitchers, with Wells going tonight and Andrew Cashner going Thursday night. Cashner's been in the minor leagues getting stretched out. He was a reliever for the Padres, and he was sent down to start, which he's been doing for Double-A San Antonio. Punched up the right field line, and that drifts out of play. 1-2. It's a 3-1 ball game here. We had a battle of solo homers. Padres got one from Will Venable in the 3rd inning to make it 1-0. Jed Lowry answered for the Astros in the home 3rd inning to tie it 1-1. Then here in the home 5th, Lowry singled and wound up scoring in a wild pitch. Johnson drove in the 2nd run of the inning. It's Bill Brown, Jim DeShays, Greg Lucas, Bart Ennis, Kevin Eschenfelder, Steve Sparks, Patty Smith, Frank Trevino. All the way. Hey, it's good that Frank got out of the hospital, and he's back. Fernando Abad is warming up for the Astros. There's the lefty. In the air to left center field. J.D. Martinez clocked this one. Wow! That's a 2-run bomb. He hit a pitch down and in, and he had some serious lift on that swing for home run number 10.
Getting off the pump.
That was a flyer for J.D. And it's 5-1, and this is worth watching again. The swing he put on this ball. 45 runs batted in for the club leader.
Wells has had a lot of breaking balls do that today, trying to go away, and he just kind of drifts inside on a right-handed hitter. Boom!
It is hammer time for J.D.
Conoco pump. He should get a free gas for a year or something.
He should.
In the minor leagues, he could win a suit or something.
Jordan Schaefer takes. There's ball 1. That was impressive. 3 homers in 4 games for J.D. Martinez.
Stuffed animal or something. Ring the bell. Win a prize.
Fly ball, and here's Carlos Quentin coming over to his right. And the Astros get an opening with the throwing error by Wells, and they run right through that open door with a 4-run 5th inning, including a bomb to the pump by J.D. Martinez. 5-1 Astros.
And we are joined now by the newest member of the Astros family, Nolan Fontana, the second-round draft choice of the Astros, 61st pick overall, and signed his contract today. Welcome to Houston.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So tell the viewers what you've been doing today. Kind of a whirlwind day for you today.
Yeah, absolutely. I was up early, had to do physicals from about 7 this morning to 11:30. Came here to the park, did some press conference, and hung out in the clubhouse for a little bit, and then got to do some things on the field with the guys before the game, and enjoyed it.
So you got to meet some of the guys. What was that like?
Very cool group. Very welcoming, and I appreciated it.
Well, it's one of those days where, you've worked your whole life to get to this point. You finally get to put on that major league uniform today, even if it's just for the day, and take some batting practice out there. That must have been great for you.
Yeah, it was. You wait your whole life to get to this point, and then everything happens so fast and flies by each day, and you just got to embrace it and enjoy every moment of it.
Well, you certainly had a great collegiate career at Florida. Played shortstop there for the Gators. Made it into the College World Series this year. So this is kind of a nice way to end what's been a good baseball year for you.
Absolutely. Enjoyed every bit of going to Omaha with the Gators again. And, this is the icing on the cake and another step in my life. I'm looking forward to keep moving on.
So because of the fact that you've played 3 years of college ball, the Astros obviously feel that you're a little bit farther along than some of the high school kids they've drafted. You're going to start in A ball. What are your feelings about that?
I'm real excited, regardless of where they put me. Just be the same guy I have been to get here, and play hard day in, day out, and take one pitch at a time.
So you were named after Nolan Ryan, correct?
Yes, I was.
And your grandfather was Lou Burdett, one of the great all-time pitchers. So Jim DeShays was asking a moment ago, why isn't this guy a pitcher?
Well, I grew up with my grandfather a little bit, and he would tell me just throw strikes, whether you're playing shortstop or pitching. So I pitched for a little while. Realized I wasn't getting any taller and wasn't getting any bigger, so I decided to stick at shortstop and hit a little bit.
That seems to have worked out okay for you.
Yeah, so far so good.
Well, Nolan Fontana is the newest member of the Astros family, as I said. Got a little money on his pocket, headed to A-ball to get his professional career started. Thanks for being with us.
All right, thank you very much.
Guys, back up to you.
Thank you, Bart. We had a delay for some repairs at third base. Something wrong with the moorings of the base, apparently. Amarista leads it off in the 6th inning. That created some downtime for Jordan Lyles. He gets a little chop foul there and runs ahead in the count 0-2. That's what they were doing to anchor third base.
Who knew? Twist ties.
Can't say they've used those for 100 years. A little chop goes by the mound out to second. Bixler, quick release. He had to be quick with Amarista running, 1 out.
Nice job there by Bixler. I imagine it crossed his mind to just try to shovel that ball with his glove, but his instincts told him, I got time to make the transfer, and it's a little safer play if I do, and he was right. It's prettier play when you just shuffle it with your gloves. You get more oohs and ahs.
Boy, is that guy quick.
Alexi Amarista.
Yeah, great name.
Yeah.
Logan Forsythe looks at ball 1. He's 0 for 2.
Well, Nolan Fontana's grandfather, Lou Burdett, played 18 years in the major leagues. If Nolan could do that, I imagine he'd be quite happy. And
18
rather
years.
wealthy, too.
Great pitcher. Line shot to shortstop. Forsythe hit it right at Lowry. 2 outs. He was a World Series hero back in '57. Won 3 games to beat the Yankees.
Retired in 1967 with 203 wins, 144 losses.
Now, the pinch hitter for Kip Wells is Jesus Guzman. Guzman started last night at first base. He's a .241 hitter with 2 homers, 26 runs batted in. Guzman, in fact, hit a home run last night. In the 8th inning, he was 2 for 5 in that game. Just barely reached the Crawford boxes with that home run swing on a 2-2 pitch from Fernando Rodriguez. This one goes in the air, and center fielder Schaefer moves in. for the third out. 6 innings in the book for Jordan Lyles, and the Astros have the lead 5-1.
Guys Night Out package presented by Kielbasa and Budweiser is available every Thursday home game, including this Thursday's game against the Padres. Purchase a loaded ticket that includes a Field Box 2-seat, Astros cap, sausage dog, and value draft beer or soda, all for just $30. Root now and buy your tickets at astros.com/guysnight. Bill, back to you.
Thank you, Bart. We take a look at Paul Bykowski there in the stands, and he is our director for a lot of the Astros televised games. All getting a night off, a rare night off. Who's directing tonight?
Looks like he's getting a tutorial, too, on how to use an iPhone.
Yes, he is. Adam Hinsdale is directing this series.
Probably really doesn't embrace the modern technology.
No, he does not. Kip Wells threw 100 pitches, 60 for strikes. In 5 innings, he allowed 7 hits, 5 runs, 2 earned, walking 3, fanning 2. So in that 4-run 5th inning, gave up the 4 runs, but only 1 was earned. Nick Vincent is making his major league debut. He was 0-1 at AA San Antonio. Called up today with an 11.42 ERA. I think they just wanted a fresh arm, JD, for tonight.
Yeah, because they weren't sure what they were going to get out of Wells, and Boxberger had pitched last night, so they sent him out.
Right.
This guy is good. Excuse me. Coming up through their system, had good minor league strikeout numbers.
And he delivers strike 1 to Lyles.
Last year was 8-2 with a 2.27 ERA and 66 appearances at San Antonio. Had 89 strikeouts and 79 in the 3rd inning.
Yeah.
Collegiately at Long Beach State.
Liner by Lyles right at Amarista, 1 out.
Yeah, quick inning that Lyles had in the top half of the inning has bought him a chance to go back out there for the 7th.
Sure has. Now Bixler will wait an extra beat so Lyles can get back in the dugout. A little bit of a breather. Bixler 0 for 3. That's part of being leadoff man, recognizing that the pitcher needs a little time. To correct something I said on Fontana, he is not a switch hitter. He's a left-handed batter. Jed Lowry on deck. There is strike 1.
Right there. Fox Strikes brought to you by ChooseNissan.com, showing that fastball slotted over the heart of the plate.
Nolan Fontana was born in Richardson, Texas. Grew up in the Orlando, Florida area. No balls, 2 strikes. Lou Burdett was the World Series most valuable player in 1957, and he died in 2007. Nolan Nolan's father, or grandfather rather. And there's a strikeout of Bixler. That's out number 2. So Vincent off to a nice start in his debut.
2 really good sliders back to back to finish off Bixler. Seen the fastball just 88, 89 miles an hour, so I'm guessing he's getting the lion's share of those strikeouts with that slider.
Jed Lowry has homered in the 3rd. He's singled and scored in the 5th. Lowry 2 for 3. His 14 homers now tied with Miguel Tejada on the all-time Astros shortstop home run list. There's ball 1.
Showed you Vincent's numbers at AA. Or rather, those were his AAA numbers at 11.42 ERA.
Ah, okay. That makes more sense. Because he dominated AA last year, as you told us.
He had a $1.86 ERA at San Antonio. 9 appearances at each of those 2 stops this year.
Okay.
18th round pick in the 08 June draft. Playing for his hometown team. He was born in Poway.
Smack foul by Lowry. Doesn't Randy Jones live there? I think that's where he's lived for a long time. 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, it sounds right. Just outside of San Diego. Dave Smith territory.
Grounded foul makes it 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cubs lead the Mets 4-3. They're in the bottom of the 6th at Wrigley. Folks enjoying a 5-1 ball game here. The Astros scoring 4 times in the 5th. Lowry hits it high to right field. Venable in. And in the 6th inning, there's a good debut inning for Vincent. He has a 1-2-3 frame. It's still 5-1 Astros.
Is brought to you by Hyundai. If it's fuel efficient, affordable, stylish, and safe, it's probably a Hyundai. By AT&T, rethink possible. And by Coushatta Casino, the largest, most exciting casino resort in Louisiana. Our action here moves to the 7th. The Astros have the 5-1 leaders, Bill Brown and Jim Deshaies.
Thanks, Greg Lucas. It is 5-1, and Jordan Lyles is still in there after 6. Going up against the top of the order and throwing ball 1 to Will Venable. Venable made it 1-0 Padres with his 3rd inning homer. He's 1 for 3. Ryan Bixler made a good play to get him out in the 4th. Lyles cuts that one in close to him, and it's 2 balls, no strikes. It's It's Texas 6, Detroit 4. They're in the bottom of the 6th in Arlington. That catches the edge, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count now. White Sox are shutting out the Twins 3-0. They've played 7 in Minnesota. Gavin Floyd with the good mound work there. 3 balls, 1 strike.
The Rockies have reassigned pitching coach Bob Apodaca.
Really?
He asked to be reassigned.
Oh, okay.
And will serve as a special assistant to general manager Dan O'Dowd.
Do we know who's replacing him yet?
I know they have Jimmy Wright out in their bullpen.
Yeah, he'd be good.
Well, here it is right here. Bullpen coach Jim Wright and AAA pitching coach Bo McLaughlin will serve as co-pitching coaches.
Oh.
Jordan Lyles, it has not been the cleanest game for him. A lot of base runners. The command has not been as sharp or near as sharp as it was last time out. But by the beauty of editing, we can make it look sterling because he has had some big moments. And the bottom line is he's in position to win, and he's only given up 1 run.
And some good curveballs, as you saw there.
5 hits, 4 walks. He's pitched around a lot of traffic.
Lowry to his left with the flip. Bixler, whoa! He got upended. He got the out call at second, and the ruling was that he reached in, and that's when the ball came unhinged from his hand. So he got credit for possession on the Venable force play from 6-4.
Good hard slide here by Venable. A little late, right on the bag.
He got dumped.
You got to be mobile and ready. Get up, get up. If you're anchored, that's when you get into trouble with that knee. If you get hit on the side, especially.
Oh yeah, good thing he got up in the air. That could be a serious knee injury. He's got that foot planted. Quentin has an infield hit and a walk. Abad and Carpenter are working in the Astros bullpen as Lyles goes to pitch number 99 of the night.
Tossed one up under Quentin's chin last time up. That must be the book. Well, he hit that game-winning double last night the other way on a pitch out away from him. So they want to make sure they do their due diligence inside on him.
Foul ball, and it's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Prior to last night, when Wandy Rodriguez gave up 5 earned runs in 6 2/3, the Astros had put together a very good run of starting pitching with a 1.88 ERA for 7 starts. 100 pitches for Lyles with Carpenter and Abad working. Washington 9, Colorado 3 in the top of the 5th inning at Coors Field. Off the right shoulder of Jason Castro. Schaefer a step toward left center for Quentin, who takes it high for a ball. That makes it 2-1. $15,416 the attendance tonight. Tomorrow's over the hump day. A little grounder goes foul here. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lucas Harrell going for the Astros tomorrow night against the lefty Clayton Richard. And then Thursday night there's a little drama because the starter has yet to be announced by Brad Mills. Probably will be Bud Norris. Bud Black has announced his starter, Andrew Kashner of Conroe. Line toward left field, and that's toward the gap. J.D. Martinez over to cut it off. He throws into second base on the single by Quentin. And it's first and third, 1 out. The Padres stir up trouble with Kotsay coming up.
Fernando Abad is ready in the Astros bullpen if Brad Mills wants a left-hander. In all likelihood, Buddy Black would counter with a right-handed bat here.
102 pitches for Lyles. 60 have been strikes. That looks like the end of his night. He's in line for win number 2 of the season. And he'll turn it over to the bullpen with a score. Houston 5, San Diego 1. Back in a moment.
Altuve and the Toy Ken and Jimmy Wynn at the Whataburger at Spencer Highway and East Boulevard. They'll be signing autographs there tomorrow from 11 a.m. to noon. While you're there, register to win the ultimate Whata fan experience, which includes autographed memorabilia, sweet tickets, and a chance to throw out the first pitch at an upcoming game. So get out there and register for the Whata fan experience. Brownie, back to you.
A couple of small but powerful players there. Fernando Abad comes in with no wins or losses. His ERA is 3.86, and there will be a counter move by Bud Black. He'll pinch hit for Mark Kotsay with Chase Headley.
Yeah. So Bud Black counters the move of Abad, and he brings Headley up here, his best guy. I don't know how much pinch hitting Headley's done this year or how good he is at it, but he's their best hitter. So that was the risk that Brad Mills was willing to take by bringing his lefty in here, a guy who's prone to giving up the home run ball. That's kind of the thinking in worst case scenario. All of a sudden, if this guy jacks one, you're in a one-run ball game.
Headley's 0 for 1 as a pinch hitter, and as a right-handed batter, 264, 4 homers, 18 runs batted in. His numbers very similar, right-handed and left-handed, even though he has twice as many at bats as a left-handed batter. And he takes this one. It's ball 1 to Headley. Headley has been on base in 65 of his 73 games. Last night, he reached only the last time up in the 10th. He walked, stole a base, and scored the game-winning run after going 0 for 4 prior to that.
There's a number of guys in that Astros bullpen that have been struggling lately. Wilton Lopez is on the disabled list, so I think Brad Mills just, I feel like he's trying to get every last out he can out of his starter. I think earlier in the year he would have lifted Jordan after 6 innings, but because the 6th was an efficient inning for him and because the bullpen has struggled, he sent him back out there for the 7th. Certainly understandable, trying to get one more out of him.
It's 2 balls and no strikes. Headley's walked 45 times. It's 3rd in the National League. Kotsay was 1 for 3. Fouls that one back, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count for Fernando Abad. Abad worked Friday in the Cleveland game, the 2-0 loss for the Astros. Pitched 2/3 of an inning, allowing 1 hit, no runs. Bond has an ERA of 1.80 in his last 10 innings. Swing and a miss by Headley, and he strikes out. 2 outs. Now Baker.
Breaking ball from Abad, and it's a dandy. You
can tell from that swing.
Pitching with more confidence since coming off the disabled list. More aggressive. The tempo's been better.
Baker's 0 for 2. He reached on an error, and he also walked in the 5th inning. Strike 1. Cincinnati came back to beat Milwaukee 4-3 with a run in the bottom of the 8th inning. But Bronson Arroyo, who took a no-hitter to the 8th, was not involved in the decision. Sean Marshall won it. John Axford lost it. Aroldis Chapman got his 9th save. Bixler over to Lee, and Abad comes in and does a job in the 7th inning. No runs, a hit, 2 men stranded. It's 5-1 Astros.
By Lowry in the 3rd tied the game after Venable's homer gave the Padres an early lead, but the Astros weren't finished. In the 5th inning, Johnson's RBI single helped the Astros add on, and the big blow was Martinez's 2-run shot to the top of the Conoco pump. 5-1 the lead off of that. That is where we stand as we go to the bottom of the 7th. Here's Bill and JD.
Free gas for everybody, Greg, as he rattled the Conoco pump. That's an impressive shot. I haven't seen too many go off the actual pump out there. Chase Headley is the first baseman after pinch hitting for Mark Kotsay. Can't remember a single ball hit off that pump. In fact, JD.
No, I don't recall.
Carlos Lee is 0 for 2 with a walk. Vincent made his debut in the 6th inning, and that went well for him. 1-2-3. And the slider works for strike 1 here in the home 7th inning. Toward right center field. Venable. 1 out. Bart.
Thanks, Bill. Hey, fans, Chevy is proud to present a new show called Chevy Hometown Kids. It's not about the score, it's about the experience. So tune in each Saturday at 10 a.m. right here on Fox Sports Houston, or go to hometownkids.tv for more information. Back to you, Bill.
Thank you, Bart. That's 1 out. Now Bogusevic is the batter. Ryan singled in the 3rd inning. And he reached in the 5th on the throwing error by Kip Wells, which opened the floodgates. He later scored in that inning. He's 1 for 3. That's strike one for Vincent. Yankees knocked off Cleveland 6-4 despite a 4-run Cleveland ninth. Phil Hughes pitched 8 shutout innings. He's 8-6. Beating Justin Masterson. That's a ball to make it 1-1. And Alfonso Soriano got his Rafael Soriano got his 16th save. Yankees have the best record in the majors, 45-28.
Hey, that'd be a good bet every year.
What's that?
Soriano versus Soriano, home runs versus saves.
It would be. Well, the Astros will head for Chicago, where they will open up the road trip. It's a 2-city trip, Chicago and Pittsburgh. Friday afternoon, a 1:20 start in game 1 of that road trip. It's 3-1.
Who gets to pitch that one? Jay Happ, right? Jay Happ better fly ahead early because he's on his own.
Yeah, Jay will be going out there with a lot of tired teammates to support him.
Go get him, big guy.
Maybe he ought to fly half the team ahead. That's ball 4. Bogusevic reaching. And Chris Johnson.
Whirling clouds and violet haze reflecting Vincent's eyes of China. Vincent, Don McLean, remember that song?
Don McLean, yeah.
Starry now.
That was top of the charts for a long time, wasn't it? Johnson 1 for 2 with a walk. It lays off, and it's ball 1 to CJ. Zach Greinke trade rumors are starting to heat up.
Yeah, they're going to try to lock him up, but if they are not successful and don't feel like they're making any headway, I think they'll move him. They being the Brewers. Look out back there.
1 ball, 1 strike. Well, he would be quite a commodity for a contender to try to acquire. And according to one source, 2 rival executives expect the Brewers to deal Greinke. He'll be a free agent if they cannot sign him by the deadline. And they were talking, according to this story, about an extension, but then Matt Cain signed that huge deal with the Giants. 1 ball, 2 strikes. So of course, that every player is in relationship to another player of a similar position in those contract deals. And apparently that upped the ante. Greinke is 8-2 with a 2.81 ERA. Johnson strikes out. That's out number 2. 2 strikeouts for Vincent.
American Pie album.
Yeah. That had to be a big time seller. Castro is 1 for 3.
Well, I think, Greinke is every bit the pitcher Matt Cain is. But he does have, he's had, the psychological problems in the past, so there would be a little more fear in locking him up long term, I guess.
Yeah. Some anxiety issues. There's ball 1 to Castro. Free agent market may not be all that great next winter. A lot of guys have been locked up during this season who would have been free agents. 1 ball, 1 strike. Boy, there's been a ton of signing of young players to multi-year deals this year. Did you see that attendance is up 8.1% for the year?
I heard a story, or read a story a week or 10 days ago talking about the increased attendance. I didn't know the numbers.
Didn't realize that. 2 balls and a strike. That's a significant increase.
Baseball's been booming.
Yes, it has. And they always seem to tie it in these stories to interleague play, but I just think it's up in general. Interleague play does have more attendance, but it doesn't start until school is out usually, so let's forget the school months. Attendance is up overall in baseball after school is out, period. Interleague play or no interleague play. But yeah, we saw big crowds for a lot of these interleague games this year. And we'll be seeing them the rest of the summer. Paul Bykowski, though, will not be in many of them. He'll be directing ball games. It's 3-1.
But there was, thinking for a while was that attendance was being driven a few years ago by all the offense, right? People want to see home runs, and well, offense is down. Attendance continues to grow.
It sure does. The strikeouts are up again this year.
I just want to see a good ball game and have a hot dog.
Fly ball at the center, Maben. To end the Astros' 7th inning, and the Astros lead the Padres 5-1 through 7. Hand center, great hands of the game comes from Brian Bixler playing second base again. And here's a little slow roller, and boy, Amarista running. He really had to be quick on that little toss over to Carlos Lee, getting Amarista on a little tapper. Back in the 6th inning. Brian Bixler starting at second base for the 3rd time this year. He has played 5 different positions as a starter for the Astros this season. Filling in for Jose Altuve, who might be back in this series. They're just playing it by ear and want to make sure that he can sprint without aggravating that hamstring. Now it's the top of the 8th inning as Altuve is a spectator, and Fernando Abad is on the mound. Jordan Lyles in 6 1/3 innings allowed 6 hits, 1 run, walking 4, fanning 4. Everth Cabrera is the batter, the switch hitter up from the right side this time. He has a single and a walk and a strikeout. In the air, and whoop, Schaefer lost his footing. Now Bogusevic's there. He almost went down. He stumbled. And it's out number 1 for Abad, who's retired 3 in a row since coming in with 2 men on base. Man down. Almost. Amarista is 1 for 3. He singled, and that loaded the bases in the 2nd inning. That's when Lyles got tough. He got Forsythe on a pop-up and Wells on a ground out. And the Padres left the bases loaded in both the 2nd and 3rd innings. Lefty Alex Hinshaw is warming up for them. Amarista takes strike 1. Leans back from that pitch. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count to the 23-year-old infielder from Venezuela.
What do they? Oh, they list Amarista at 5'7".
Yeah, we're questioning that though. We want to see them side by side on the field. Carlos, 2 outs. We think he's more like 5'5" also. He's not 5'7". There's no way he's 5'7". 2 outs, and now it's Forsythe. Forsythe is 0 for 3. Well, some players like to inflate their vital statistics, but Jose Altuve actually insisted that he be listed at 5'5", not 5'7".
Yes, you got a chance to be one of the shortest players in history and do some good things. I mean,
that's right. Strike to Forsythe. Oh, they'll be checking. You know that. All-stars down through history. Chris DeNorfia is on deck if he makes the All-Star team. See how many guys were 5'5".
Freddie Patek, I think, made an All-Star team or two.
I believe you're right. Yep. 1-1 the count. How about Phil Rizzuto? Did he ever make one?
He must have.
We think he did. He was 5'5".
Was he really?
I read that somewhere. Don't know if it's accurate or not. 1-2. 5 home runs. Most by a player 5'5" or under since Freddie Patek in 1980. Didn't know that stat. How many guys have there been 5'5" since 1980?
Not many at all. None.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Harry Chappis. Lowry comes up with it. And it's out number 3. And Abad is retired 5 in a row in the middle of the 8th inning. The Astros lead the Padres 5-1.
Battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. The road to the World Series begins with the 2012 Major League Baseball All-Star Game Tuesday, July 10th at 6:30 p.m. Central on Fox. Let's go back to Brownie and JD.
Thank you, Bart. And let's check the American Leaguers. Josh Hamilton, Curtis Granderson, Jose Bautista. Great outfield there. Beltre, Jeter, Cano, Fielder, Napoli, and Ortiz.
And the Rangers leading the way, and a number of them just off the pace, too. The Ranger fans really getting out the vote. Josh Hamilton is on the verge of setting a record for all-star votes.
Alex Henshaw is warming up. What does he have? Over 7 million?
Yeah.
Henshaw's 0-1. His ERA 4.02 as he comes in for the bottom of the 8th inning.
Now he's got good strikeout numbers, 19 punch-outs at 15 2/3 innings. Formerly of the Giants. Fastball, hard slider that he leans heavily on. Curveball, and just for show every now and then a changeup.
Alex is 29. He was born in Pomona, California. Went to Chaffee Junior College and San Diego State. J.D. Martinez ripped a long 2-run homer in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. That's ball 1. Vincent in 2 innings in his major league debut allowed no hits, no runs, walking 1 and fanning 2. Henshaw was in the minor leagues last year at AA Richmond and AAA Fresno. 15th round pick in 06 by the Giants. Slider, and the appeal goes to first. Jim Wolf rings it up as a strike. 1-1. Shaw almost hit him there, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count. The Padres in the 9th inning have the pitchers scheduled up first, then Venable, then Maven. Their pitching staff was terrific last year. They have not been able to measure up to those standards so far this year. Strike makes it 2-2. They didn't hit much last year. They were next to last in runs scored, but their ERA was 3rd best in the National League. They've scored only 252 runs this year. That's ripped foul. Still 2-2 to J.D. Martinez. Kyle Loesch won for St. Louis 5-2 at Miami tonight. He's 7-2. He beat Carlos Zambrano, who's 4-6. Jason Mott got his 16th save. Struck him out. That's 1 out. Bart?
Yeah, Bill, want to remind fans that voting is now open for the 2012 All-Star Game in Kansas City. Don't miss your chance to help send Jose Altuve and Jed Lowry to this year's All-Star Game by voting up to 25 times at Astros.com/vote. Cast your ballot now for your 2012 All-Stars, once again by going to Astros.com/vote. The game Tuesday, July 10th at 6:30 Central on Fox. Bill, back to you.
You only have until Thursday to vote, though. Jordan Schaefer has been on twice with a walk and a single. So you could vote 10 times tonight, 10 times tomorrow night, 5 times Thursday. And get your 25 votes in for Altuve and Lowry. There's strike 1 to Schaefer. Matt Downs is on deck. Or do all 25 tonight. Get it out of the way. Doesn't take long. Joe Morgan, when he was outside the building and got to look at his plaque in the sidewalk for the Walk of Fame, had great reminiscences of being an all-star with Houston. He was the first position player to become a Houston all-star back in 1966. So it would be such a special moment if Altuve could get there, and of course Lowry as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Altuve's the better story.
Yeah,
for sure. Getting more recognition, but Lowry's actually having a better year.
Yeah,
has outplayed all the other shortstops in the league.
14 homers for Lowry. Strike, and it's 2-2. And some of the media were asking Brad Mills tonight during his usual session, what about Lowry? Did you have any input when that trade was made this winter? He said, well, no, Jeff, it just taken over as the general manager, and that trade happened quickly. They didn't ask me very much about him at all. Struck him out. Schaefer didn't like the call. 2 outs.
Banging away at that outside corner throughout that at bat. That one a little bit off the plate, but he'd been living out there.
Now Matt Downs as the pinch hitter for Abad, who did a sensational job tonight. 1 2/3 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. Downs a 174 hitter with 4 homers, has driven in 8. And Downs came up with a pinch hit in the Sunday afternoon game against Cleveland. And it's strike 1 to him. Matt's second pinch hit of the year. David Carpenter is at work in the bullpen.
Fred Myers getting ready to go to work right behind him, just in case.
Bixler on deck. Downs cracks one, foul. No balls, 2 strikes.
Whacked in the arm.
Oh.
It's all right.
Yeah. He's going to shake it right off. Where is Bo the Baylor this year? Have you heard anything from him?
I don't know where he is. He's probably going to be on Survivor with Jeff Kent.
Curveball struck him out, and he struck out the side. We go to the 9th inning, 5-1 Astros. Chevron, and they are. Lefty Clayton Richard with a 5-7 record. Right-hander Lucas Harrell, he's 6-6, and both working well in recent games. That's tomorrow night, 6:30 on FS Houston. The Padres have 117 straight losses when trailing after the 8th inning. They trail by 4 this time for Bud Black, and now it's David Carpenter warming up for the 9th for the Astros.
You would think the Padres would just pack up their bats and go home. It was kind of odd, stacked against them. But Buddy Black is not going to let that happen.
No, he's going to pull out Yonder Alonso from the bench to hit against David Carpenter, who's 0-2 with a .540 earned run average. Alonso has been out with a sore knee for a couple of days and feeling a lot better. 254, 2 homers, 18 runs batted in. We thought he might be in the starting lineup tonight. He has 17 doubles, and that's second among all rookies this year. Alonso came from Cincinnati in the multiplayer deal for pitcher Matt Latos. Venable on deck, and Maven due up third. And it's ball 1 for Carpenter.
Alonso, we heard a lot about him coming up through the Reds organization as one of their top hitting prospects. Now we'll see if it comes to fruition in San Diego.
Carpenter misses, and it's 2-0 for David.
He's not had a lot of work lately. He worked once in the Kansas City series, once in the Cleveland series. Last 10 appearances, his ERA has gone up over a run. Had some rough outings.
Falls behind here, 3-0. Alonso is from Cuba, born in Havana. He went to the University of Miami. Brad Myers working in the pen. And Brad Mills will allow him some rope if he does make a move here with Carpenter. It's 3-1 now. Alonso was a first-round pick by the Reds in the 08 draft. He was the 7th player drafted. As a junior at Miami, he hit .367 with 23 homers, 71 runs batted in. Ooh, bat got away from him. That was a fastball right where he wanted it, and he fouled it back. 3-2.
And maybe the difference between being in the game for 4 at-bats and coming off the bench cold.
It sure could be.
That's his 3rd or 4th AB of the night. He might square that one up.
Alonso didn't play a lot last year for the Reds, but he hit .330 with 5 homers, 15 runs batted in. He had 88 at-bats. He and Edinson Volquez and Yasmani Grandal and Rod Boxberger were traded. He chased ball 4 and struck out.
Yeah, he sure did.
Carpenter gets out number 1.
It's the kind of pitch, had he not offered, we would have said, boy, with a 4-run lead, you probably should have challenged instead of coming with the breaking ball. But when you get the swing and miss, good pitch. Way to go, Carp.
Yep. Alonso retired. Now it's Venable. Venable homered in the 3rd and walked in the 7th inning. Kansas City knocked off Tampa Bay in Kansas City 8-2. Bruce Chen going to 7-6. There's strike 1.
I believe that ties him with Juan Berenguer as the 2nd winningest Panamanian pitcher ever.
Wow.
Behind Mariano Rivera.
You are all over that. You are up on your Panamanian pitchers for 40. 0-2. That is impressive stuff.
See what happens when my family leaves town? I watch stupid baseball channel and I find out even more minutia.
Come back, family. 1-2.
Restore some sanity.
I could just see you hitting the morning coffee shop, talking baseball over the sports page with the retired guys in your neighborhood.
Oh, that's, yeah.
That low bridges Carpenter and goes on through into center field. A single for Venable, his 2nd hit of the game.
His first hit was a solo home run. Started the scoring in this ball game. It came in the top of the 3rd, and in the bottom half, Jed Lowry answered. It's been the Astros game since then. Watch out now. Jammed a little bit, didn't he? Hit it all that hard, but it's still scary when it's coming back at your forehead.
Exactly. Venable is on for Maben. Maben's 0 for 4. That's why Carpenter showed that reaction. It's almost as if, why did I duck out of the way when I could have caught it? But yeah, off the bat, how much reaction time is there? 0.3 of a second or something like that.
Sometimes it's very difficult to tell. You get fooled on some of those. They're like change-ups coming back at you.
Gets that in for a strike, and it's 1-1 for David.
Well, Myers is ready. One more man reaches, it becomes a safe situation.
The Atlanta Braves notched a win over Arizona 8-1 in Atlanta. Tim Hudson going to 6-3, beating Daniel Hudson. He's 3-2.
Is that the first matchup ever in the history of the game between a couple of Hudsons?
It might be. Probably not, though. White Sox 3, Twins 2. That's the final with Gavin Floyd going to 6-7. Addison Reed getting his 10th save. White Sox 39-35 now.
I mentioned earlier that Bob Apodaca, the pitching coach of the Rockies, has asked to be reassigned, and he has been. And they're getting thumped tonight 12-4. The Nationals leading the Rockies in Colorado. That's a tough assignment, boy, pitching coach out there. You need a little combat pay. Take that job.
I wonder if a guy ever asked to be reassigned and management was mad at him and said, nope, you're going to stick it out. You're going to suffer for the rest of the year. That's off the mitt of Castro, and it's ball 4. So now maybe enough rope. We'll see as Quentin comes up. It's a 4-run lead. He does not represent the tying run, and Brad Mills is coming out. Now, usually in a situation like this, the closer gets a little bit of extra rope in case he might walk a guy or give up a hit. And the number 3 hitters coming up, and he's been their best hitter so far this year, so it's going to be Myers. We'll be right back with the score. Houston 5, San Diego 1. Save situation with the potential tying run in the on-deck circle. Brett Myers coming in. He's 16 for 17 in saves with an 0-2 record and a 3.55 ERA.
Yeah, and managers get criticized a lot, and I'm among those that criticize him for managing to the statistics sometimes. But certainly you can understand this move. And Carpenter giving up the base hit and then the walk, the lack of command that Carpenter exhibited in this inning had to be a matter of concern. And given where the Padres are in their lineup with some dangerous hitters coming up, it makes all the sense in the world to go to Myers here.
Myers worked a scoreless inning last night. Quentin takes a breaking ball. There's ball 1. Myers came in the 9th inning. The game was tied last night. Runners at first and second here with 1 out, with Venable at second and Maben at first. Quentin has 2 hits and a walk. He looks at that for strike 1. Myers is 6th in the league in saves. 9 for 9 in home saves. 1-2.
Starts with a couple breaking balls and a good fastball down and away. See if you can get him to roll over on that curveball. He gets a lot of ground balls with that breaking pitch. Quentin, not a speedy guy. A little 6-4-3 and out of dodge. That would be a winning plan.
Very happy way to end it. Foul ball there for CJ. Still 1-2 to Quentin with Headley on deck.
Headley?
Boston 5, Toronto 1. That's the final for Fenway with Andrew Miller winning it.
Curve kind of floated back into a dangerous spot too. Quentin a little off balance.
Jared Saltalamacchia hit his 14th for Boston tonight.
Boy, he's having a nice year.
Really nice year. Vance Worley and the Phillies knocked off Pittsburgh 5-4. Worley goes to 4-4. Jonathan Papelbon got his 18th save. Didn't have to part with $5 grand. Ground ball foul. He offered a $5,000 reward for a walk-off hit the other day, and Jim Thome collected with a home run after Papelbon blew the save.
Have we found out? Has he written the check yet?
Haven't found
out.
Transaction
taking place?
Hopefully so. Should be a man of his word.
Oh boy, it's been Philly boy. Don't write that check, you're asking for trouble.
Oh yeah.
Well, Myers has been able to get Quentin to hit the ball on the ground here with that breaking pitch twice, but both times have been foul. pitch.
Yes, it was.
It's a great pitch. Didn't get the call, but after those breaking balls, good heater shooting for that inside corner, just missing. You see number 6 there off the plate a little bit.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Quentin. Out to center field. Schaefer still backing and makes the retreating catch. Here's the tag at both bases, and both runners are moving up. Throw to second, not in time. 2 outs. Good base running by Venable and Maben.
A happy pitch there. Myers got his man, but Quentin can at least feel good about the swing he put on it. He had a good tough at bat and hit the ball hard. Drove it a good long ways. Schaefer went back and made a good play. So everybody did their job here.
Chase Headley came up as a pinch hitter for Mark Kotsay and struck out in the 7th inning with 2 men on. Fouling that one there, strike 1 to Headley. 117 straight games. Padres have trailed after 8 and not won. Headley's 3 for 7 against Myers. Myers deals a strike. He's ahead 0-2. Fans are up, hoping this is it, as the Astros have a chance to square this series and make it a 4-4 record on the homestand. In the dirt, and there's the pickup by Castro on a 1-2 count now. Jordan Lyles' 2nd win of the year in the balance here as Myers tries to close it out for him. Nando Abad was particularly effective for an inning and 2/3. Myers pitcher number 4 of the night. Ground ball hit into right field. 1 run home. Here's Maben to make it a 2-run single and a 5-3 ball game as Headley drives in a couple with a single. Both those runs charged to Carpenter. And the Padres get the potential tying run to the plate in John Baker.
So you can close the book on David Carpenter tonight. A 1/3 of an inning, 1 hit, 2 runs, a walk and a strikeout. Myers goes back to the curveball, and Headley finds a little room to operate between 1st and 2nd and drives in 2.
Now Baker. He rips one into right field past a diving Carlos Lee. Headley goes 1st to 3rd on the single by Baker. And now it's Everth Cabrera.
Similar is too strong of a word, but starting to be reminded of that outing Brett had against the Royals when they put 8 hits on him.
Yes, 8 hits and 5 runs. All singles. That's 9 hits for the Padres. They've stranded 10. And they get Cabrera up. He has a hit and a walk tonight. Amarista on deck. Myers had not inherited a base runner all season until tonight. There's ball 1. Quite often in today's game, the closer comes in with a clean inning. But tonight he was the backup man with a 4-run lead going to the 9th. Foul ball makes it 1-1. Padres left the bases loaded in the 2nd and 3rd innings. And they've stirred it up here in the 9th with 3 singles and a walk. As for the Astros, their record when they lead after 8 innings is 29-1 this year. Castro, as the ball trickles away, hits him. And Myers with the hit batter now has the bases loaded with Amarista coming up.
Amarista had a big hit for the Padres in the finale of their homestand, a game winner. Now the tying run is in scoring position with Baker down there at second base.
On the left foot.
Black has Nick Hundley and Kristen Norfia still available on his bench.
Marista's 1 for 4. Forsythe on deck. There's ball 1. Headley at third, Baker at second, Cabrera at first. Big cut there, and it's 1-1 for Amarista.
And the Langer behind that heater. Some good tailing action, 92 miles an hour.
Tight on a corner for a strike. 1-2. Big call. Now the fans are up again.
Good job by Castro.
Yes.
Framing that one and pulling it back a little bit to the inside corner.
Little roller out to Lowry. There's the toss to Bixler for the final out. It got dicey in the 9th inning, but the Padres left the bases loaded for the 3rd time tonight. Myers nailed it down for Lyles. And the Astros have squared the series. Lyles goes to 2-4. Kipwell's the loser 0-1. Myers getting save number 17. Final score, Astros 5, Padres 3.